breaking down the biggest stories in the world of horse racing. This is At the Races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio. Sirius XM Sports presents At the Races with Steve Byk. Horse racing, handicapping, interviews. This is At the Races with Steve Byk.
Very good Wednesday, race fans. Sirius 162 XM 207, Sports Zone 999 if you're listening to Sirius XM that way, and at our website, stevebyk.com, midweek, and there was a little bit of an Easter egg, as they call it in, I use the Easter egg moniker, which actually is one of my favorite exhortations. If I say it's Easter, but they refer to Easter eggs in on these shows, right? On streaming shows. There was an Easter egg though for Breeders' Cup Classic watchers, just about 2 hours ago, you had at Funabashi, a track in Japan that you don't hear too often, but it had a nice gathering that included Ushba Tesoro and Derma Sotogake as they get ready for Breeders' Cup, and neither of them, as it turned out, came back a winner in this spot. William Barrows upset them. I just sent a tweet out, which has got the complete race, and it's worth watching. Ushba rallied. Derma Sotogake tired. He clearly needed it. So it's not as if these top Japanese conditioners haven't already proven that they can prep these horses appropriately for the big assignments. That's well established. So that was kind of fun, though. I'll see what Dick's thoughts are, and I'm sure probably in advance of Santa Anita opening Friday, probably be good to get Steve Anderson. We'll get a little of that. Marcus is off for a couple of weeks. I think he's off this week too. So between Steve and Marcus, two of the major, certainly DRF correspondents that are highly attuned to the international scene. Meanwhile, back here, got a nice Wednesday planned. I've got to put Dick Powell's Happy Valley pick 3 out there for you. I'll do that momentarily. As promised, if you were listening to the replay just now, Pete Rotundo, Peter is out in California, got there, I think, yesterday, and getting ready for the inaugural California Crown. And they've got a hatful of 2-day wagers. They drew the Sunday card yesterday, and there's a lot going on here. So Pete's going to join us and talk about the work that's gone into this. And I mean, it didn't, as a concept, I mean, I'm sure it was percolating, but it really wasn't right until Preakness, Preakness week, that this even kind of came to the consciousness publicly, right? So we'll talk to Pete in just a few minutes. Dick Powell to follow, and we'll look to Happy Valley, the valley where it's happy, and get some recapping in from Shatin this past weekend. I put up Luke Middlebrook's analysis for you. It's at the website, and the earlier action actually at Happy Valley, where in fact we're 4 minutes to the fifth. The earlier action has been, all right, all double digit. You've had, I think the smallest mutuals like $12, right? It's been a little volatile, and Matthew Poon hasn't even been involved. Here, I'm trying to pull up the numbers. Here we go. Karis Teeton in the opener, 1780, Arthur's Kingdom, and Hugh Bowman in the second. Sky Song, 1230. That's why I saw that. I happened to see that one live. Colonel in the third, 2460, and then Winning Steps, Teeton again. Matthew Chadwick won the third. Teeton again for Pierre Eng, and 2340 for Winning Steps. So it's been pretty juicy. In fact, wow, the third, fourth race double, $437. Nice. Well, and see this, pool size. This is one of the appeals of the Hong Kong action. It's one of the reasons people, you wade into it, try it, and go with it. We'll talk to Sid, and of course, they're expecting. It occurred to me about a half an hour ago. I should have texted Sid. You've got that. I think it's still a tropical storm, right? Was Helene that is supposed to hit on that side, and I don't know what time it's expected at Tampa, but I did see Tampa braces for Helene, that kind of thing. So I hope, if there was a problem, Sid would have reached out. I've been saving the final recap of the Keeneland sale to touch on with Sid, and there was an interesting analysis. Chris McGrath, I haven't read it yet in today's TDN, but at Blood Horse, either yesterday or Monday, there was a breakdown of the sale by decile, and it's very interesting. And I'm basically going to ask Sid, how much of it is just raw supply and demand, that the sale was so successful, and the the big numbers, pressing deep into week 2. But if you break this out, it's pretty revealing. The top 5 deciles for this year's sale, this is a quote, all reported significant growth in average price. Last year, only the top 2 deciles reported the increases. And so it tells you 2 things. You heard Cormac Brannock with us, and Tony Lacey, and Buff Bradley talk about the quality of the catalog and the depth of the catalog. And so I kind of want Sid to riff on, how much of this is the culling of less than desirable mares from breeding stock, and it just the concept that having more deer conditions, meaning fewer horses, and we're breeding fewer horses, probably a combination somewhere in between. But as someone that recommends matings, and is carefully evaluating mares, so I think Sid can speak to that. It was a very, by every measurement, it was a healthy and a very positive sale. Only at the lowest end, the 8th and the 9th deciles, were there any fall off, and that's the $9,000 to $30,000 range, and $9,000 to $17,000 range. And actually, the horses that were $1,000 to $9,000 was up. But this was a very good sale. And in fact, when Dick joins us, that just popped in my head. I want to include Presque. Dick probably has got a play or two for today at Presque Isle. That move that was actually suggested by Pat Morrell, that move to the Friday of the Masters Mile card was really smart and was very good business. They set a handle record Friday at Presque Isle. I want to say 2.6 or 2.7 million. The new bets did okay. The pick 4 was, I think, 76,000, and the double 20,000. And I'm sure they were hoping for a little bit. I would have thought, 100,000 for the pick 4, and maybe 50 for the double. But sometimes the 2 I can bring this up with Pete Rotundo too. The 2-day bets took a little bit of dent in the fender, frankly, over the summer, right? With the weather issues and and what happened at Saratoga. People may be a little shy right now on the 2-day wager. Let's see what Pete's thoughts are. But anyway, the overall numbers were really good. And so, trying new things and being innovative. Record day one handle, all time, 17 years of racing at Presque Isle Downs. Yeah. Quite, yeah, just under 2.7 million. They smashed, pretty much smashed their handle record. So placement, all this stuff is it counts for something. You know what? We can get Brian. Go ahead. Yeah, go grab Peter, since we went in this direction, and we'll talk about this. And Pete just sent me a note. There's a couple of floating around. There's a couple of press. Thank you, Dick. Dick must be listening. He just sent the pick 3 for Presque Isle, as it happens. Thank you, Dick. It's interactive radio. I must admit, I'm shockingly sedate. I may have made a tactical. I don't know if this is good or bad. I actually took a bath this morning. I took a nice hot bath, and I never do that. But for whatever reason, I guess I was up early. I was up like at 3, and just kind of funny. And so I'm really shockingly, you got sort of an FM DJ version of me today. I love it. Well, and speaking of getting up early, I got up at 3 Eastern. I think Peter Rotundo Jr. I think Peter got up at 3 o'clock Eastern too, but at 3 a.m. California time. Good morning.
Hey, Steve, your first time off the bath. What's happening?
Yes, it is. It's crazy. I
love that. A lot of baths in my life right now with a 3.5-year-old and a 15-month-old. So I love it. I see the allure.
It is. We got a nice clawfoot tub that don't take advantage of. I don't even know. I don't know what inspired me. I just I'm taking a bath, not a shower today.
I love it.
Well, you got out there because, of course, it's a big weekend, and it would have been a big weekend even without this concept. But this whole thing came together very quickly, the California Crown, and certainly, the 2 days of cards, they're doing their part.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's we got out here yesterday, but the team here been working on this for a while. Obviously, it's when you come to Santa Anita on Saturday, it's going to look different, right? So there's going to be a stage, just like if you're looking at the racetrack in the winter circle to the right, there'll be this stage set up for the music performances, and they're going to happen during the card, most of them, and then there'll be DJs afterwards. So it's going to be interesting. It's like they'll go obviously the horses won't be on the track when there's music. But it's going to be integrated into the day, where sometimes a Pegasus, we would have music, during the day, but there's more DJs, and then the big party afterwards. So this is going to be an all-day affair on the entertainment front.
That is different, and of course, at Preakness, the music and the entertainment is actually somewhat segregated, being in the infield.
Exactly.
This sounds like it's front and center.
Yeah, and if you talk to our favorite UK friend Nick Luck, he said like at Hong Kong, I guess they do something like this, right, where they integrate it more into the day, into the races itself. So anyway, we're gonna take it should be great. I mean, it's gonna be fun. I mean, again, and then we're talking about 3 or 4 times there'll be actual live performers in between the races, but then all over Santa Anita, there's a activation called Exacta Eats, where all these pop-up restaurants In fact, Prince Street Pizza from New York is going to be there. The food level at this event's going to be through the roof. So listen, it's something for everybody. It's, it's like Pegasus moves west, right? But it's exciting as far as that part of it. And then, the wagering and the races came together really nice.
And I can see that saw the press release that lays out, a kind of a wide array of options and some 2 days. I was riffing on the 2-day event, the 2-day wagering that Presque Isle and Parks had, and it was the first time they've ever done it. Certainly first, and the history of Magnus / Stronach Group had promoted multi-day, multi-track wagers. In fact, in a lot of ways, helped innovate the concept. So, plenty of experience with it. And I was curious, what's the philosophy, Pete, especially after this summer where we had, we did have the difficulty in Saratoga with weather and off the turf. And I wonder if it, makes people a little shy at times to engage in these.
No, I got you. Yeah. Well, here, luckily this weekend,
not a weather issue.
No weather this weekend for sure. Last year there was an issue with the weather, but no, it's going to be perfect. So the idea was let's create, obviously, all stakes pick 5 on the Saturday, 15% take, $1 minimum. There's 5 stakes. We were actually going to do it all turf on Saturday as well, but the way the races were going to line up, all of them, the regular pick 6, which is now a $2 bet, that all turf and the all stakes, everything would have kicked off on the same race, and it felt like that didn't make much sense. So we didn't do the all turf, but we did the all stakes, and then the 2 days. Look, we have 2 big stakes on the Sunday, Breeders' Cup preps, right? The Zenyatta and the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. It's Sunday. We want people to look at those races, right? So let's tie them into the big Saturday. And that's the idea. So pick 6, a $1 pick 6, 15% take with 4 of the stakes on Saturday, all graded, right? Into the 2 on Sunday. Some daily doubles, $5 daily doubles, 15%, and a pick 4, again, 15% take. So the idea was lower take. We get to do that, right? In California, if you want to make a special bet or a new bet, you get to play around with the takeouts. So that's what we took a shot there.
Nice. And I'm just looking, in fact, tomorrow when Jeff Franklin joins us for the Win Using Thorograph segment, as it happens, the 2 races, even before this came out, the 2 races I picked were the Eddie D and the Crown for us to go over. And they're the 2 races in that 2-day pick 4 with the Sprint and the Zenyatta on Sunday. So that's going to be helpful. Not to mention, I just did it because I thought it, be a nice double to talk about. The all stakes on Saturday, the Unzip Me down the hill, the John Henry, the Eddie D down the hill, the Crown, and then the City of Hope. So you got a terrific all stakes pick 5 there. Right.
And we got a couple of shippers in, right? Christophe Clement's bringing in Big Invasion. I mentioned this yesterday to Randy Moss. In August, when we were going around the backside of Saratoga talking about the California Crown, I ran into Miguel Clement, and I explained to him what was going on in California, and he, without hesitation, he's like, "We'll be there. Big Invasion. Write it down." And this is early August, so he's like, he needs a firm turf. It's going to be firm. He's going to love it. I mean, he loves Santa Anita. Almost won the Breeders' Cup turf sprint last year, right? So he was like, I'm all in on that one. So that's exciting. And then Trickery, Motion Graham. Yeah, Trickery. He's coming. So he's a nice one. So we're excited that we got a couple out there. And again, this is the first year of the event, right? First year of anything. Pegasus has only been around since 2017, right? So, we're launching it, and it's only go up from here. NBC Sports will be here for 2 hours, 6 to 8 on CNBC and Peacock, with Brittany Earton's hosting with Randy and Jerry. And Nick Luck, of course, is on a plane on the way here, and Michelle Yu will be part of the show. So we got that. FanDuel TV, be there all day. Hippica, our Spanish network will be in town for the races. So we're going all in. And of course, I don't know how much you know about Shabuzi.
We know Shabuzi. We love Shabuzi.
Well, he's our man. Yeah, Shabuzi's our guy, and he's gonna. I would say he's the headliner. I read some stat yesterday. This is inside the weeds here, but he his song, obviously, Tipsy there, top 10 for 10. I mean, the number one song for 10 weeks, and only 45 songs since 1958 have been number one for 10 weeks. I mean, that's some good stats for Shabuzi. So,
well,
anyway.
and it's a crossover. It's a real crossover hit. I mean, I first heard it with Tina. You know, Tina listens to here on Sirius XM. She listens to oh my God, it's the country station, the Nashville-based that does the. You know, that has the parties on Friday.
I don't even know it, but yeah, she forces me to listen. If she's driving, and she drives often because she hates the way I drive, then she gets to pick the station. Anyway, that's where I first heard it, and it's had it's had a big. It's catchy. Yeah, and again, he'll perform. And then there's some of popular DJs. Griffin, Frank Walker will be there. And then on the hip hop rap side, you got Lil Yachty's his name. So, I mean, again, it's one of those things. It's going to be like a vibe in there. They partnered up with this H-Wood group in LA. So these guys run all these clubs in California, like Delilah Lounge and Bootsy Bellows. Like, so I haven't been to them. But they're the spots you want to be at. So it should be a cool vibe. We up the purses. We got nice fields. I mean, the California Crown, 7 horses right now. Obviously, you always want a little more, but you know how it is. It's purse levels on some of these races. There's a lot of options, and training to the Breeders' Cup, training up to the Breeders' Cup is still in vogue these days, right? So we'll just go from here, and we'll keep pushing the envelope.
Well, and of course, we got win and you're in conditions on several of these, and proximity. A lot of horses that will be coming out of Del Mar events over the summer, and then head straight back down for whatever Breeders' Cup assignment that they're going to be involved in. Next weekend at Santa Anita, the 2-year-olds will take center stage. I would just say one other thing. The Coast to Coast Pick 5 that we do with Gulfstream, Santa Anita and Gulfstream, is returning this weekend. So it hadn't happened last year at this time. We had only done it in the spring. I mean, in the winter spring. So now it's back, and it's a $1 15% Gulfstream and Santa Anita, and it's retail only now. So the CWs are not part of that wager. Good for you. Well, that is a piece of news, right? That's a new development.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is
very nice.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what else? I'm sure I'll talk as early. Today's Wednesday. We'll probably get a visit with Nate Newby tomorrow. But there's you got the tourney, right? You got the tournament.
Oh yeah. No, $6,000 buy-in, and the tournament's going to be. If you're, Santa Anita, the stretch run suites, basically it's like this little suite level right down the stretch. I don't know if you know exactly where it is, but it's a great spot with great views, and that's where the tournament's going to be hosted. So hosted F&B, comp F&B, and of course in a really cool spot. So part of the elevation of this whole thing is not just for the guys coming from Hollywood, but it's the bettors as well. So Tyler and Nate have put together a nice setup at the track. There's an on-track bonus, $5,000, and obviously, $5,000 bankroll, $1,000 to the pool. But bottom line is they have a great setup. So, and obviously you could sign up, as you know, all the way until you show up. So hopefully everybody comes out. 12:30 post on Saturday.
Well, we'll get the Sunday draw today, and Or is it today, or is it?
Well,
or
actually,
they
tomorrow.
tomorrow? Actually, isn't it Thursday? Yeah,
Yeah.
they
They'll
draw.
draw. Yeah, and then and then we'll put out the 2-day menu. So
Very
that's
good.
the Zenyatta and the Santa Anita Sprint tomorrow.
Well, again, here's the layout. You've got the All Stakes Pick 5 for Saturday in and of itself, and then the 2-day opportunities, including there's actually a couple of different things we haven't mentioned. There's straight $5 doubles that tie the Eddie D to the Sprint on Sunday and the California Crown to the Zenyatta. So, boy, Jeff Franklin and it's going to be a very valuable. If you have not signed up at Thorograph, go ahead and sign up, because you're going to get the sheets for both of these races, the Eddie D and the California Crown, and they're going to come in very handy. And, Pete, looking at this, if you only handicap 4 races all weekend, it should be the Eddie D, the Crown, the Sprint, and the Zenyatta, because there's a pick 4 and there's 2 doubles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I know. And then if you do that, and then you add in a race here or there, you're going to have action. Even the coast to coast. The City of Hope is involved. It's all turf. There's 2 turf races at Gulfstream. The last 2 turf races at Gulfstream into the last 3 turfs at
nice
at Santa Anita. So I mean, the action is fast and furious,
thick and deep,
and that's the point. That's what we want.
No, exactly. I'm just going to pull here. I'm pulling up these races. The races at Gulfstream, the Hollywood Beach. You got a turf sprint, and then you've got a optional claimer first level mile turf race as the 2 races from Gulfstream to tie in with the almost all stake.
I'll give you
cross country.
One thing. So I've been following. There's a horse named Rotundo that runs at Gulfstream.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea why they named the horse that. I don't know who the owners are. I tried to find out. I can't. It's almost impossible. Long story short, the horse was there. I was there at Florida Derby with my dad, and the horse won on the Friday. So we went in the winner's circle and took the photo. But the owners aren't there. We're like, we're going to pretend. But I've been following her closely, and last time, she's in the 6th race, I think. She had this insanely wide trip going 2 turns. No chance, basically galloped around there. And now with my man Jaramillo aboard, I can see this horse going right to the top.
It's actually the 7th race, and it's a Kathleen O'Connell trainee.
Yeah.
Perrin Time Thoroughbreds.
Yeah, if you could find out. I can't. I don't think it's
we'll find out.
I can't find out. Anyway, but there's she tries hard, except last time going 2 turns, she was done at the 10 post. But anyway, I'm excited for a big weekend. That's for sure.
Well, no doubt. And tickets and accommodations probably, right? Still,
yeah.
It's a big building.
Yeah. Oh, no. GA is available. A couple of box seats are still going. Some of the premium areas are sold out, which is, great, obviously. And, but yeah, definitely come. And the food, again, it's I'm like salivating at looking at this menu of all these different restaurants that are popping up. So it's going to be really cool. We'll have that jockey VR thing there where you could, with jockey cam, you could ride, pretend like you're in the race, actually ride a 6.5 furlong down the hill race we shot at Santa Anita a year and a half ago. It's super cool. I don't know if you've tried it, but it feels like you're in the race.
It is cool.
Yeah, it feels like you're actually in it. And then, be some celebs popping around for sure. And then there'll be a fun day.
Well, innovation and trying to build excitement and interest and, appeal to from hardcore players to casual fans to, completely uninitiated, and a day there will captivate and capture any potential horse player, fan, and more. So, Peter,
thank you. Yeah, and again, they've done a good. Listen, I'm just trying to help execute, but Belinda and Aiden and their partner John Terzian at the Stagewood Group. Because at the end of the day, we put up the money for the purses on the day, and we're partners with John Terzian and the Stagewood Group on the hospitality and the fun.
Nice.
So that's how these things come together. Same sort of model in Pegasus. So we want to build a big event in California. So here we go.
Well, and I should mention too, I know that there's a microsite, right? There's a CaliforniaCrown.com
Yeah.
site.
Yeah,
as
California Crown. You find out all the info, and you could you buy tickets there as well. And then I guess the last thing we did that fun promotion around Preakness. If you go to 1st.com/contest, you could play. It'll open up tomorrow. Basically, pick the top 4 in the California Crown, and you have a shot essentially to play for $100,000. There are 5 people right now still alive for the grand prize of $5 million. So what happened, if you remember at Preakness, if you had to pick the superfecta cold, well, 5 people did it, right?
Yep.
So they're alive for this $5 million prize. They have to stay alive. They have to pick the cold super again here, and it's free to play. And bottom line, if they don't wind up winning, whoever has the most points will win $100,000 cash, no matter what. So
very cool. And because you launched that with me, and if anybody gets through, well, obviously, if only one person stays alive, or will it go on?
Yeah, to the Pegasus.
But if only one of the 5 on Saturday picks the straight super, wouldn't they
be alive for the no, because the last leg is the Pegasus.
Okay, so
yeah, exactly. So the first grand. Listen, we know it's very hard. No. 3 cold supers, but the $100,000 is a real prize. Someone's gonna win, lose, or draw. Is gonna walk. Win. If they win, they have the most points. They'll win $100,000. So and it's free to play. It's just more action, right? And just trying to get people engaged. Yeah, well, it doesn't stop. Yeah,
you're an action guy.
Well, exactly. Well, we need action, right?
Exactly.
So anyway, it's all good.
Well, Pete, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we got tons of coverage yet, including straightforward handicapping with Brad Free and probably Steve Anderson and much more. And of course, now that we know that Nick Luck is being parachuted in.
Well, my goal is to get him on stage with Shabuzi, obviously. So that's
perfect.
We always have goals in life, and that's one of them.
So. Should be fabulous. Pete, thanks so much.
Thanks,
well
Steve.
done.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Not at all.
I think
Peter Rotundo Jr., Retro 411 on your Twitter, and this is the CaliforniaCrown.com. I'll get Nate probably tomorrow, and push the contest, and of course you can play on the online option too, right? Let's see who else is. I'm going to guess that obviously ExpressBet will be involved, and maybe they do have FanDuel there, so I'm going to guess FanDuel TVG. I'm going to tell you right now. Here you go. 6,000 buy-in, as Pete said. $5,000 bankroll, 1,000 to the prize pool. All fees paid out. Registration opened yesterday and actually continues right up to race 5 Saturday. The only online option is ExpressBet, and then on track, of course. There's win, place, show, exacta, try, double. No multi race. Players must bet at least 4 races, $500 per race. And players must bet their entire $5,000 bankroll at some point during the contest. No maximums. You can wager as much as you want, including the winnings, of course. Daily double wagers will count toward wagering total in the race that the bet is placed. Right? That's nothing unusual. Expecting at least 200 entrants for a $200,000 prize pool. There'll be 8 BC seats, 2 NHCs and 2 Pegasus betting championship as well. Nice. Very nice. Winner gets 50% of the pool, prize pool. Second, 20%. Third place gets 15%, 10% to fourth, and 5% to fifth. First place finisher gets the choice of any 2 different seats. So you could take a BC and an NHC, an NHC and a Pegasus, a BC and a Pegasus, whatever. And then from there down, you'll get your choice until they're gone. So there's the contest, and I'll talk to Nate as well. Here's Dick Powell standing by. Dick, good morning.
Steve, good morning. We're heading towards race 6 in Hong Kong.
You bet. Let's dive in.
We are going to start out with a 2-turn race, 1650 meters. These are class 4s. I wound up going with one of the logical ones, the 1 horse, Rocket Spade. But then I used the 3 Sure Joyful, who was 10-1, and the 10, who was 11-1. So got a logical horse and then 2 prices. And what I like with the 2 prices is, number 1, I get Matthew Poon on the 3 horse. We like Matthew 1 price horses. And the 10 gets Ellis Wong, the 7-pound apprentice rider. So we're listed to carry 120. We're actually going to carry 113. So we'll be getting 22 pounds from the high weight, number 1 Rocket Spade. So I think, we kind of got our bases covered here with 1, 3, and 10 in the first leg. Second leg is a 1,200 meter sprint. I went with the 2 Aurora Lady, despite breaking from post 10. I don't usually like going out to post 10 in these sprints, but he does look good. So I took him with Zach Burton and 6 New Power, breaking from the rail, and Spicy Gold, a couple of stalls next to him in post position 3. So that's 2, 6, 7 program numbers. And then the last race is a 1,000 meter sprint. And unlike Shot 10, where they come down the straightaway, the difference is they don't have that elbow that they have in the 1,200 meter race. So it's kind of like a straight run into the turn. And the rail's pretty far out. So the outside posts, I don't think they're as big a disadvantage as they normally are. So I'm going to 1 Youthful Spirits, Zach Curtin, high weight. Been running really well against class 3. No reason not to think he won't continue to do so. Number 2, Atomic Force from Dylan Moe and Harry Bentley, a big weight kick. And then we're throwing in the 5, Red Elegance. Despite breaking from post 11, I think we can get a nice trip from out there with Matthew Chadwick, press the pace, hopefully have a big run through the lane. So kicking off in race 6, coming up in 4 minutes, we're going to go 1, 3, 10. Second leg, race 7, 2, 6, 7. Race 8, third leg, 1, 2, 5. Don't forget, if you have more than 1 horse in the third leg, and even if you run just second, there is a consolation for the second place finisher in the doubles, the pick 3, the pick 4, things like that. So sometimes if the price is right on that runner-up horse, can pay pretty well. So not that anyone's throwing their tickets away, because most of these bets are being made online and not in bricks and mortar buildings. But still, it's nice to know that you can still run second in the third leg and still get some money back.
1, 3, 10 with 2, 6, 7 with 1, 2, 5. Dick's treble here, and the pick 3 that you just finished up here, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. How about a fat $2,414? And that was what was nuts about it. That was with the 2-to-1 winner in the 5th. Dick, Noble Pursuit. Hugh Bowman paid $680, but you had the $23 winner ahead of that, and it started off actually with a $24 winner. So two nice prices and one logical, and a $2,400 payout.
Yeah, if you can lean on a horse in a 12-horse field, if you can lean on somebody, that opens up a lot of possibilities in the other races where those $24 horses can sprout forward. So you got to be right. You got to lean correctly. But if you can get rewarded. I hit the treble Saturday night, which for me is very rare as shot 10. And it was 3-1. Odds on horse, who I did not single. I won 3 deep, but still odds on horse. And then Harmony and Bless goes off like an 11-1. He was 8-1. He drifted up to 11, and the pick 3 came back 460. So really, it was one horse that you had to have. The odds on horse you could easily single. So that worked out well, and I was happy to finally hit one that shot 10. Usually as happy as Ellie was to hit him. I brought one home Saturday night.
Well done. We'll talk about upcoming, and there was also the Golden 60 ceremony the other night. They're just about, looks like we got maybe 2 to load, maybe 3. The light flashing, and this is the Kwantong handicap. We're going 1 meter. Still a couple, actually. They're usually more efficient than this. Rocket Spade, Dick, 6-1. Sure Joyful, 11-1. And Gallant Crown, 9-1.
Yeah, Rocket Spade has gone the opposite direction in the market. He was 3-1 less than an hour ago. So he's really good.
Well, the horse that took all the money, you got 2 of them, 8-5 on Matsu Victor, the 4 with Vincent Ho, and Super Unicorn, Zach Purton, 3-1. So you're against the faves here. Here we go.
He wasn't the quickest out, Matsu Victor, off the inside. Courier Magic goes back with Tradition, Durham Star. And there's a few vying for the lead here. Alice Wong surging forward on Gallant Crown, Ninja Derby. Super Unicorn keen at the winning post the first time. He's one off around Matsu Victor, who's handy on the rail. Brave Witness 3 wide into the first turn, now without cover. On the lash behind him, Sure Joyful between runners as Courier Magic's rolled off the fence there. So on the lashes, about 4 wide. Tradition came next, followed by Rocket Spade, the long-standing Hong Kong Maiden, and Durham Star last. 27.94, so a tick inside standard. And up front, the leader is Gallant Crown. He shows out. He's a little keen in front over Ninja Derby. Brave Witness 3 deep on the outside. Matsu Victor right behind them, travelling well in the pink shades. Super Unicorn settled better. He's one off. Courier Magic on the rail. On the lash, stranded 3 wide. Sure Joyful between them at the 750. Tradition, Rocket Spade. And the last of them is Durham Star. Down inside the 650 they go. He's had a pretty good lead in front here as Gallant Crown. He shows the way on Ninja Derby. Brave Witness, he's had a scruffy run 3 wide. Back on the inside is the favourite Matsu Victor, who's had every opportunity. Just needs some clear air. Around him is Super Unicorn. Then came Courier Magic, Rocket Spade. They jam up again on the point of the turn. Sure Joyful wider with Durham Star. He's been given full bore now by Alice Wong. Is Gallant Crown, but he's well and truly gone. Moving through now is Rocket Spade. Rocket Spade has surged to the lead here from Super Unicorn. Courier Magic, they've been waiting a long time for this. Rocket Spade, he's a Hong Kong Maiden. No longer. It's another one for Bowman, and it's another one for Casper Founds. Rocket Spade scores from Super Unicorn, Courier Magic, and then maybe Ninja Derby from Sure Joyful. Durham Star arriving late. Matsu Victor didn't find a great deal in the straight, and they were followed by Tradition. Further back was Brave Witness. He had a tough run, and then came on the lash. Ninja Derby was just up ahead of those gallopers as well. And back there was Gallant Crown. He didn't find a great deal in the straight and would have been about one of the last ones.
Well, there you go, Dick. And it's funny when he said 8-1, and when he said I guess it was on the backstretch when he said the long-time Hong Kong Maiden, and there it was. How about it?
0 for 24 in Hong Kong.
Amazing.
But almost all against higher company, and now this was his first time dropping into Class 4. That's why he had to carry the high weight. But he drew well. He had blinkers off. Yes, he has to carry the 135 pounds, but he did it and didn't take money. I mean, just was cold, as they say, friendless in the market.
Yeah. Well, very nice. This is a very nice way to start this. So we're looking for the 267 and the 125 in the 7th and 8th races. But some people box these up. I think it was 189, 189.11. I think was the order of finish. That Super Unicorn ended up at a tick down to 5-2. And actually, the 8-5 favorite was nowhere, Matsu Victor. So well done, bypassing the favorites, and going to have an $18 winner here to start the pick three.
We will take it.
U Bowman aboard for Casper Founds, a Fastnet Rock 7-year-old Rocket Spade. Good job, Dick. All right, let's get. I want to talk Presque Isle afterward, but let's get some recapping from the weekend and look ahead to this weekend.
Okay, Shot 10 was very wet. They ran 2 all-weather races, and the track was listed as wet slow. Usually those races go very fast, and they did not. The turf started out as good. It went to good yielding, and then it finished up just yielding. So it took on more rain as the day went on. There were a couple of good performances within, especially Sugar Ball won a Class 4. Way understanded for Cody Moe and Derek Lung. I think he could be a horse to watch as he moves up from Class 4 and tries to make his way up through the rankings. And that's just hard to gauge these horses' speed. Are they going to get these kind of conditions the next time they run? Now, one thing I do in that weekly summary that I send out, I include sires. Now, Saturday night, Sunday morning, there were 8 turf races, all kind of soggy courses. Deep Field won 3 of them. So I know Deep Field is known for speed, but he's also known for getting over courses that are not firm. So Deep Field really stuck out here with his 3 wins on yielding and good yielding courses this past Saturday night. Now, this week we have kind of a crazy schedule. We come back, not Sunday, but Saturday, early Saturday morning, we will be at Shot 10. Then on Tuesday, we will be back at Shot 10 for National Day. It's a big holiday in China, 75th anniversary of the founding of China. And they're going to run at Shot 10. They'll be running afternoon, which means late night for us. So we won't be able to do any live programming, Steve, even if I were to switch from Wednesday to Tuesday. And then we'll be back on Sunday. So we got Shot 10 3 days in a row, Saturday night, Tuesday, Saturday morning, Tuesday morning, Sunday morning. And we have a stake race, 5-furlong stake race on Tuesday, the National Day Cup, 1,000-meter sprint, which should be a pretty interesting battle with some fast horses coming down the straightaway at Shot 10. So the schedule's a little different coming up. And we have some news with Golden 60 retiring. They did a really nice job with the ceremony and the videos that they put together. And he just goes out. It shows you the business model of Hong Kong and how well it works, that you can buy a horse for big money, geld it, take it to Hong Kong, and make $10, $15, $20 million in purse money. I mean, Romantic Warrior is going to make more than that. California Spangles over $15 million in purse money. It's a business model that works for the owners. Even if you're not a major stakes winner, you're running for top money, and you're running because you're gelded, you're running to 5, 6, 7 years old, and your prime years, and even later than that. So Golden 60 proved it. These other horses that have come along have proved it. And I think more and more people are looking at the market saying, "Oh yeah, I'd love to have a Stein. I'd love to have the next Justify, great racehorse that goes on to be an even better sire, but I can go to Hong Kong with the gelding." And what was that one we had a couple of years ago? Steve, the Galileo. He won a group race at Ascot. Then he won Russian Emperor, and he got sold. Went to Hong Kong, won the Champion Trader Cup. He won the $2.1 million race in Qatar. Because you figure with these horses, and you're going to see it this year, not only with the Saudi Cup and the Dubai World Cup in the Middle East, but you got the big races in Bahrain and Qatar and Dubai. I mean, there's big money available. So you're got a great market to look at. So nice to see Golden City blaze that trail and win that amount of money. But I don't think that record's going to last for long. I think Romantic Warrior will pass that earnings record probably this spring. So Golden 60 retires. Just a great horse. And Jamie didn't go out on top because he caught a wet track his last start, but his last win last December was probably his best. So that was great to see him, and they did a nice ceremony for him, and as they do, handle everything very closely.
Well, they seem to regularly produce these kinds, and we haven't talked about it in a couple of seasons, but they've got a very interesting. I learned this from Chuck actually, who I know over the years had plugged a couple of horses into the the stock acquisition system. You'll see American horses end up out there, and the names get changed, and but they'll pay six figures for good, sound, healthy geldings, and we had one horse that went through the initial process, and he had a bit of an ankle that made it that ended up being the deciding factor in him not going, but it's kind of a testimony to horses that reach maturity at age 5, and the careers can blossom from there. I mean, we get these on a regular basis.
Well, the 4-year-old series runs for gigantic money, and then you come out of that and you're ready for group action, and if you get through that series, you've already banked millions of dollars into your account. Lots of big races in the future. So it's a good system. The club goes out and buys horses on their own. They have their own sales during the year where they'll put the horses up for auction. I think Romantic Warrior is one of the biggest graduates of that. I think he sold for like $900,000, and he promptly made that back. Despite starting out at Happy Valley, he began the climb from that 52 rating in Class 4 at Happy Valley. Not shot them like some of the others do. So he kind of really earned it and just worked his way up to where he is now, and looking at a huge season coming up. So as Golden 60 exits, here comes the Romantic Warrior jumping on stage.
Some other international conversation as well, Dick, and you and I were searching around for the race this morning from Japan, and finally found it. And both, neither, I should say, Ushba Tesoro and Dermasotagaki, neither one a winner, but it's a tune-up, right? They've got a bigger goal coming to Del Mar.
Yeah, they'll be super tough. They're world travel, so this is no big deal for them. And hopefully we'll get Forever Young in there. I haven't seen any updates on him lately, but I'm sure that'll be coming to the fore as time starts getting closer to the Classic. So between that contingent and then Aiden O'Brien and what he's bringing over, and then the Americans, that's gonna be quite the race.
Yeah,
And
we're in for
as long as my knee continues to improve, I will be there.
excellent.
Right now,
Excellent.
right now I can't fly because I can't keep my leg bent for as long as I would need. But I'm thinking 4 or 5 weeks. I get staples out today, and I think that'll be a big help. So just keep working physical therapy, do all my other things, and then I do have a flight in the hotel, so I'm planning on it. But and it's going to be I like international racing. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's shaping up really well, and we'll know a lot more after these next 2 weekends and Keeneland as well. Let me slip in some Presque Isle before we go, Dick, and I know you were listening, because when I brought up Presque Isle, you sent me the pick 3. Real credit to Pat Morrell and Matt Ennis making this shift last week and moving that card to Friday and being essentially rewarded for some innovation with record handle at the track.
Yeah, you could just see it. You're watching the race, and the win pool was 150,000. I'm not used to that at Presque Isle. So that was great, and it was a huge success. And way to go, Pat. Way to go, Matt. And then the horsemen responded with sending in some high-quality horses. We had Irad Ortiz. We had Dylan Davis. We had the usual suspects coming in for big races. And Mike Trombetta continues his raid on Presque Isle with a track record win in the Presque Isle mile, 141.23 for the mile and 16th, pressed the pace, held on by a head as the odds-on favorite over Casey Chief. Looks good, and I assume Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile will be next on his agenda. He's by American Pharoah. And then the Masters, Roses for Deborah, sat behind the speed. Looked like maybe we might not get through, but then Irad found a hole and burst through there, won by a neck. The margin, I think, the neck doesn't. He won kind of comfortably once he was clear. Now, if he didn't get clear, it wasn't going to be comfortable. Track record 113.92. They went through 6 and 108.03. And Pandora's Gift coming in from Ireland ran very, very well. And hopefully we'll see her in a Breeders' Cup race as well. And Gallon of Rush, the other Vermont horse who ran third with Dylan Davis, also ran extremely well. So they went 113.92 in a race that always has influence on Breeders' Cup, either turf sprint or Breeders' Cup filly and mare dirt sprint. So that was very, very good, and I'm glad it turned out to be the financial success that it was.
Big time. And before I ask you about the result at Parks, let's quickly give them the pick 3 that starts with the opener today.
Opener today, we're going 2 turns. I like the 4 Star Force for Ricky Hendricks, dropping down in class, maiden claimant, and the 5 Blue Soldier. And stuck kind of at this level, but does have a kick, and we'll see if he can get up in time. So that's 4-5. Race 1 at Presque Isle Downs in the pick 3. Race 2, I like 1, 2, 3. They just laid out that way. Brandon Culp, Hypercenter trainer with Gallardo, who continues to win races in bunches. More Spring Spirits 2 with Pablo Morales. And then the 1 is my top. The 3 is my top choice for Maria Borisov, Smart Joker. Running against this class level, running well. No reason not to run well again. So 1, 2, 3 in the second leg. Then the single is going to occur in race 3. We're going mile and 7, Son of Liberty to Kevin Rice. Throw out the other races. Just look at the 2 races that he ran against this claiming level on to Peter. And they both were winning races. I think he can win this. And maybe at a little bit of a price. We might get that 5-2 morning line. So race 1, 4, 5, race 2, 1, 2, 3, race 3, 7.
All right. Kicks off at 3 o'clock Eastern time is the first at Erie today. Another, I tell you, we've been discussing this the last several weeks. Just looking at the field size, 8 by 7 by 9 by 8 by 8 by 9 by 8 by 10. I mean, you want horses, you want solid field size and horses that run every 3 weeks. You should be looking at these cards.
And we're running 4 days a week now until the end of the meet. So
right.
So it didn't affect it last week, and it didn't affect it this week. So the extra day, no problem. And yeah, the races are much more competitive and more enjoyable.
4, 5 with 1, 2, 3 with 7. I'll put that up in a little bit. There we go. And 2 by 3 by 1. All right. I love it. Finally, Dick, let me get your thoughts about the Glamour division, the boys and the girls. We had Torpedo Anna have to kind of extract herself, Brian Hernandez, from a little bit of a jackpot, and did it with a plum. And Wayne Lucas and Jaime Torres, who you got to give, I know everybody's reaction is to indict the rest of the riding colony, but give Torres some credit.
Absolutely. And he broke well, he rode aggressively, and then once he established his position, then he got it back to cruising speed so that when they turned for home, he had plenty left and ran a big race, ran a Preakness race for him. So it was nice to see Wayne win another $1 million race at the age of 89 years old. And he just did everything right. Track was a little, I don't know how you describe it. I mean, everyone was talking about how deep it was. Times were slowish. I don't know how much that race is going to take out of Torpedo Anna. It certainly wasn't like a life and death when Rachel Alexandra won up here in Woodward.
Yeah,
I mean, she was toast. She was toast after that. I don't see this being anywhere near that. But it was a tiring race off of a tiring Travis. So we'll see how much time Ken has to have it ready for the Breeders' Cup and go on from there. But with that size and strength, I think it's going to affect her less than it might somebody else. And it was just nice to see Steve Byk kind of get back into the picture and fortify the group of 3-year-olds that we have.
I'll tell you one thing. Kenny, who was with us on Monday and was on his way here, he's up here at Saratoga for a couple of days, and he showed him. If you haven't seen it on Twitter, and I'm sure he put it up at his other social media site. He's on Facebook too. She looked full of herself. Actually, it didn't, and that was already Tuesday. So a good 72 hours afterward, and she probably went back to the track today. She was being walked yesterday, and Kenny's over at the annex, and I mean, she was sprightly. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, it's quiet. It's cool at nights here. It's perfect. This is what horses like. So you're keeping her in that environment right up until when she has to ship to California. So that'll work nicely, and she's shown she can basically run over any kind of track. So that's a big plus.
Dick Powell, everybody, and Dick, I appreciate it, and we'll start to edge closer, and we, I guess I can start asking everybody. You good for? We're going to get a little at the races Breeders' Cup betting companion entry from you again this year.
Yes, because I think I'm going to pass on the Brisk stuff.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do the Brisk like I did the Saratoga. So yeah, I should have fun.
Excellent. I appreciate it. All right, I got to start rounding up everybody.
Especially after last year's performance.
Exactly. Big time. Well, watching here as they're getting a little closer for that second leg. We got the 7th to come, and trying to get Dick through with the 2, the 6, or the 7 at Happy Valley, about 4 minutes away. The 2 is 6-1. The 6 is 5-1, and the 7 is 5-1 as well. So again, another trio of well-priced players in this multi-race wager. The horse we've got to beat is the 5, Glory Cloud. And of course, Casper Founts and Hugh Bowman, who helped us out last time. So now we're rooting against.
Yeah.
Well, good luck here, Dick.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
I appreciate it. Dick Powell, everybody, with a little HKJC and a little PID, a little Presque Isle Downs as well. One thing that came up there that actually when Pete was on, and I'll slip this in as Sid, we reach for Sid. You had the Phasig California yearling sale yesterday, the one day at Pomona, and a full blood to the nice Phineas sold for $250. This is a Stay Thirsty. That and it's interesting because the brother that full brother was the sale topper last year at $200,000. Kind of funny. $250, and sale was, even with some uncertainty about Northern Cal, sale was pretty good. 163 yearlings, basically 8 million, averaging a little under 30,000. Median was 15, and pretty much in line with last year. And now they'll turn their attention up here. We've got actually, I think I brought the catalog downstairs. We've got the Timonium fall sale, and we've also got the Saratoga sale in a couple of weeks. 3 weeks, I think, right? The 15th, October 5th. Yeah, I think October 15th. So Timonium and the Saratoga. And the Saratoga is yes, yeah. The Saratoga, there was one year that it was kind of a tent sale, right? We remember it was out. Was it on the backstretch at the track, or was it? So I've got like a crazy recollection. I'll have to ask Anna or Boyd Browning this. Did they have this like in the infield? Right? Am I imagining that they had the sale like on the backside of the infield one year? That mixed sale, the brood mares and weanlings, and there was all, the whole, it's a whole collection of miscellany. I may be imagining that. I think I can remember walking across the infield for that. If anybody remembers that, confirm if you would, because I might be manifesting that. That might be one of those false memories. It's possible. Thank you for Leslie Knopf. She says she has no recollection of that. That might be enough of a non-confirmation to to confirm that it didn't occur. That I've got a mixed some sort of a memory. Waiting for Sid. We may end up taking, if we can't get Sid right away, I might take this race, considering how we're live for with this pick 3. And Brian's saying and I texted him too, Brian. We'll see. Usually he would. Well, and thank you. Here, thank you, Kim. Kim Ricard just sent me a note. Listening on the radio. Yes, the sale was on the backside of the main track in a tent one year. It was also on the track near the side where people could go to the track. They walked in under the paddock and then went in under the building. Yeah, I thank you. So I'm not crazy. And I think, and the one was positive that, it was like a one-off, and there were young, there were weanling, post-weanlings, and broodmares, and because the sale, the Saratoga fall sale, I think went on hiatus for a little period, and then was brought back, and subsequently, has gained a lot of momentum. Thank you, Kim, because I was questioning my sanity, which is not an unusual circumstance. All right, we're not hearing from Sid yet, so let's look in. This is the North Point handicap. They're just going to go 6, and remind you if those are that bet, 267 is what you want. Aurora Lady, the 2. 5-1, the 6. New Power is 4-1, as is Spicy Gold, the 7. So some decent numbers, just about set. Here we go.
Gates fly, they're racing, and My Day, My Way, not the quickest out with I Victorium. Strive for Glory back. New Power, Aurora Lady began well, and Aurora Lady's going to show them a clean pair of heels into the first turn from barrier 10. Get to the front and find the rail for Purton. Up on the outside is Hero Star. He's 3 deep around Beauty Destiny, who's a bit keen between runners, now pouring some pressure into Aurora Lady. Glory Cloud 4th. Looking to tuck in closer to the fence from New Power. Spicy Gold came next around Mr. Valiant, and then came Shinkansen, Prime Mortar wider. Back over on the inside, then came My Day, My Way, and I Victorium last. 5:50 left to go. Aurora Lady, the gelding, he's in front by a neck on Beauty Destiny. New Power travels well behind them, as too does Glory Cloud. Hero Star's never been on the track as they come up towards the home turn. Back over on the inside, then came Mr. Valiant. Aurora Lady, Beauty Destiny, New Power up the inside, Glory Cloud 2 lengths away. Spicy Gold starting to do a charge out wider, as to a Shinkansen. It is Aurora Lady over the top, Spicy Gold. Aurora Lady, Spicy Gold from the back wins from Shinkansen, Glory Cloud, and Aurora Lady. Next in was New Power.
Well, this is a nice result, and Dick will be live heading into the nightcap at Happy Valley. The 7, Spicy Gold, Alexi Bedell, ended up at 3-1. And in fact, you had 3 horses go off at 3-1. How about that? And that included Aurora Lady, who had been higher, quite a bit higher, actually. So certainly when they straightened for home, Dick's horses were in fabulous position. New Power saved all the ground and actually, loomed inside. Looked like Keith Young was going to be able to, power home off that trip. But Aurora Lady turned back New Power. Meanwhile, Spicy Gold was rallying outside with Bedell. So an $8 winner to go with the earlier sequence starter for Dick, Rocket Spade, $18.80 and $8. So this is going to be very, very much a fun watch. Some mornings I get distracted and forget to go look at the second leg. Sometimes I'll get off the air and I'll realize what happened with Dick's play, but because we were looking for Sid, and I'm guessing that the weather situation down there has got Sid. I don't know if he's boarding up the house, but we'll see. Meanwhile, waiting for the for the final order of finish. It's actually a nice set of silks too, purple silks with a pink heart, kind of cool. Looking ahead to the third leg, the 1, 2, and the 5. Right now, Youthful Spirits is 2-1. The 2, 21-1. Atomic Force, the 2 horse. Pretty confident that if you're live on this ticket with Dick, that's who you want. And then the 5 is 5-1. Red Elegance, Matthew Chadwick for Doug White, 5-1. Atomic Force will be the big price. Harry Bentley and Zach Purton on the favorite, 2-1. So you're in good shape here. You got you're going to have a favorite, you're going to have a real long price, and you're going to have something in the middle. The final order finished there in the 7th, 7-10-5-2. 7-10-5-2. Good job. All right. Well, we got to regroup, I think, and I guess we'll go to Brian, let's head to the break, all right? That'll take us almost to the bottom of the hour. And we'll have to regroup and figure out where we want to go. All right. Let me see what else I've got for news and notes. We told you yesterday with Andy. I was surprised that Andy had not heard about K Army coming out of the woodward. So we're kind of going to put a little bit of a crimp in the action. This week I'll go. Oh, you know what I'm going to give a push to? I saw this the other day, and I was really impressed with the lineup. Toba, next month, in about 3 weeks, Monday, October 21st, they've got their pedigree and confirmation clinic at Phasic. And it coincides with the October sale as well. Listen to this lineup. This is always one of the most popular opportunities for new owners and people getting involved in the game. Pedigrees Confirmation Horse Selection, David and Gordo. Yeah, about as sharp as there is. David and Gordo hosting the Pedigree Confirmation Horse Selection session. The role of the auction house and the auction process. I mentioned Anna earlier. Anna cites Gianello and Leif Aaron. They'll handle that. Yearling prep for the sales, Carrie Brogdon from Mackmar Hall. Equine nutrition discussed, Anthony Koch from Hallway. The role of the vet at the public auction process, very valuable. We've discussed that with Dr. Alday over the years. Dr. Alex Sano from Hagyard will be handling that. Racing partnerships and racing and politics, Damon Thayer, recently retired from Frankfurt. And Andre Regard from the Regard Law Group. They'll present that. Jeff Betts for Peak Biologics. Interesting. And then Racing Syndicate's Information and Communication from the Stable Connect team. It's a tremendous program. Registration open until October 17th. Go to Toba, to the Toba website. It's open to the public. If you're a Toba member, a little bit of a discount. There's lunch and all kinds of materials, gift bag, blah, blah, all kinds of things. This is always great. Brooke Purcell, 859-899-8480. I'll tell you more about that as it gets closer. Back after this.
It's At the Races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.
More winning is ready for you in September at Remington Park. Racing begins at 6:30 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday. Make your plans now for Oklahoma Derby Day. Sunday, September 29th features the Oklahoma Derby, the Hat and Tie Style Contest for big cash prizes, and the Derby Day Wine Tasting Festival. Oklahoma Derby Day begins at 3 p.m. on September 29th. Visit RemingtonPark.com for group rates, suite rentals, and more. Get more winning excitement in the Remington Park Casino, where the jackpot action never ends. Parking and admission are free at Remington Park.
Racing 2-year-olds in California and Kentucky. Please consider Bleeder Shield, the leading all-natural paste used to greatly reduce or eliminate EIBH. The list of trainers who trust Bleeder Shield is endless. Shouldn't you join the team? To learn more, contact Joseph Volante at 215-501-6880.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions, and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match with promo Steve200. Visit NairaBets.com for details.
Want to know a secret? The Massachusetts breeding program pays huge bonuses for finishing first, second, or third at any racetrack in the country. You didn't know that, did you? Massbreds get paid up to an additional 25% of their purse earnings for the owner, and breeder, and stallion owner, and developer. It's the best kept secret in racing, till now. Tell all your friends, and to learn more, visit massbreds.com.
Whether you're new to the racing game or just looking to enhance your operation, Hermitage Farm in Goshen can help you. We are conveniently located between Churchill Downs and Keeneland Racecourse and near world-renowned equine hospitals. With spacious paddocks, expert staff, and qualified veterinarians, we offer full-service boarding, breeding, and sales preparation, as well as post-operative care and layup services. Visit us in person or online at hermitagefarm.com.
Just minutes from downtown Saratoga Springs, you'll find GMP Farm, a revolutionary state-of-the-art equine therapy and rehabilitation facility offering the most advanced equipment and knowledgeable staff to care for your equine athlete. From oxygen therapy and laser treatments to thermal imaging, dry salt room, and cryotherapy treatment, all alongside a 7/8 mile tapeted training track. GMP Farm is revolutionizing equine care. To see a full list of services and book your horse's rejuvenation session, visit gmpfarm.net today.
Fans, our live meet here at Santa Anita Park will return on Friday, September 27th. And the first ever California Crown Day at Santa Anita will be held on Saturday, September 28th. It is a day that will include the $1 million California Crown Stakes, along with 2 Grade 2 stakes worth $750,000 each. It will also include premium compound experiences with incredible food and beverage options, along with world-class live musical performances, interactive experiences, and cutting-edge technology. Griffin, Little Yachty, and Shabuzi are just some of the live acts that will be performing. You can get tickets at CaliforniaCrown.com. For additional information regarding our autumn meet, go to santanita.com. California Crown Day, Saturday, September 28th, will be an unforgettable day of world-class racing and world-class entertainment that you will not want to miss here at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita Park.
Sirius XM Sports presents At the Races with Steve Byk. Horse racing, handicapping, interviews. This is At the Races with Steve Byk.
We're back, second half. And, it's funny, just in the opening segment this morning, talking about that, and you just heard the California Crown commercial, it happens that I've never really noticed this. Peter referenced the Hong Kong, the music scene and the party scene at night at Happy Valley, and I know it's been a part of the the Happy Valley racing atmosphere, but they just actually they panned the camera over. They showed, in fact, the party scene. It was pretty cool, and there was all kinds of dancing going on, and the band. I couldn't really tell. I will tell you this. I had a terrific meeting with our contact at HKJC, and I think there's a real chance they're going to go over and spend, I don't know how many days yet, but I think it's a real chance they're going to go, for the HKIR, for the international races, and obviously would broadcast from there. I'm just hearing from Sid. Figured. That he said, yeah. Sid, he said we're getting ready for the hurricane. Let's see if he. It's one of those. It's one of those things. It's a lot easier preparing for a hurricane than it is to prepare for for a tornado. You get no. This is yeah. All right. So you know what? I'm going to get, Sid's going to pop on for a minute here, and I'll grab him, Brian. All right. Yeah, that's fine. How you doing? I said,
Please record your message.
I started to expect that, you know, that Sid was going to. I wonder. Yeah, now I'm wondering. Okay, Brian got him. All right, good. All right, that's fine. Good job. Sid, it's funny because early in the morning when I was laying out the schedule, I said, you know, there's this Helene bearing down on Tampa, and I didn't know, you know, if you were going to be boarding up the house.
Yeah, you know, because we're just out getting supplies, and I was like, I totally forgot because you know, whenever you have to like do something really, you kind of forget everything else. So I was like, oh shit! I just told Cynthia it's Wednesday, isn't it?
It's Wednesday.
And then I checked my messages and you had called.
No problem. No problem. You know, there wasn't a tremendous amount to delve into, although and I'm sure you have. Well, I sent you a link, but I can tell that, you know, this situation is distracting, obviously, with a storm rolling in. You weren't there for the last, right? You weren't there yet when the bad one, right? That was that like 5 years ago?
I was here for a bad one a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I was here for one. Yeah. And I happened to be alone that year. Cynthia was out of town, and I had to take care of everything. And that was a good lesson. I mean, that was scary.
Well, I've only ever been involved. I can't even. I wasn't old enough to really remember. I mean, I vague recollection in the '60s. There was a tremendous hurricane that hit New England, and I don't know, 65, 66, something like that. But it, my time in the Midwest, the tornado, you know, Tornado Alley, Kansas City, and and well, my parents were they actually were they had the place already at Boynton Beach when whatever that, what was that? Was that not Andrew? There was a bad one, and their sliding glass doors had to be replaced. They were smashed. And
I know.
Crazy. It's pretty crazy.
It really is. The winds are what's really amazing. You don't think, you know, you just don't assume, you can't imagine how the winds come howling quick, hard.
And sustained, right? I mean, it's
really
that's
sustained.
Well, and you know, we went, Tina and I, you know, she had been in April a couple of times. She had gone by herself to Sanibel Island, and then finally she insisted. She said, "You've got to come down. You're going to love it." And we went, and we had a wonderful time. And then there was whatever storm I guess that summer that devastated Sanibel and the other.
And was that the summer you were there?
We had been there in April before Derby. I met her down there, and I had the car. I remember having. I know I had the car because then we subsequently drove to Louisville, and then she flew home. But she really wanted me to come, and then I think within 3 months, that was Storm Ian that devastated.
Ian, right? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that devastated Sanibel, and what's the other island a little past Sanibel? Is that Captiva?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's Captiva that's further out. We didn't venture. We enjoyed being in Sanibel, but Brett Calhoun has a place at Sanibel, and I've been getting updates. They've had to rebuild, and Fort Myers got clobbered.
Well, just a couple of last year was pretty bad in Fort Myers and at Naples area too.
Well, and here it is, September of 22. Hurricane Ian, 160-mile-an-hour winds and 13 inches of Gulf water surge.
Yeah. That's that's something. That's what I'm talking about. Those winds. I mean, it literally shakes the house. And I've got a bigger problem too because I got a pool, and so I got to constantly go out in the elements to drain it while the winds are howling.
Why do you have to drain it?
Otherwise, it'll overflow and flood.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. I guess. I guess that I wouldn't. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Do you like drain it halfway, or do you?
Well, basically you got to go out. You got to open the back gates. There's a hose you unroll, and then you just turn a switch, and the pump automatically starts to pump the water out. But the thing is once the pool, if you get over, it'll start flooding the back of the house if you don't do that.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Well, there's one advantage of this situation, Sid, and that is that the construction vehicles in your neighborhood we're not hearing the beeping the backup beeping. So
that's so good. Plus, they moved a little away. They were actually doing that, Steve, for these types of floods. They were tearing up the street to put those huge tunnels underneath to have a drainage system.
The storm drains.
Storm drains, right? Exactly. So in our area, they're actually done right now in our area. Of course, they're still working a couple of blocks away in another part of the neighborhood. So you can still hear them, but not as badly.
Well, holla vi, because I cannot tell you over the last 2 years that it was going on that people would say, "I love Sid, but why is there construction in his backyard every day?"
We're right now. We're just walking through a park, and it's all lined up. They turned this place into a sandbag pickup station.
Yeah, exactly.
Sandbags. Yeah.
Sure.
So everyone's lined up for sandbags.
Wow. All right. Well,
hopefully it's not as bad as they say.
Well,
I've been through where they said it was going to be bad, and it was half as bad. But of course, when it is bad, it's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, good luck on it. I got a quick hit for you then. I talked about, in fact, I sent you the link, the Blood Horse summary about Keeneland, and I was sort of saving the wrap up to the sale for your visit, and that decile study, Sid, that showed real depth of the sale, and the fact that the top 5 deciles all saw increases. And I was going to let you just kind of riff on whether this is a result of better quality further in the catalogs, or is it a matter of supply and demand, and that there's just not as many horses, or is it a combination of the two?
I think it's a combination. I think there's more depth now. I think I really do think there's more interest in the games because there's so many external factors. It's just shrunk to the point where interest starts to become evident because the people that are involved, and maybe new people, are willing to go in. There's less tracks, less horses, so there's always going to be a period where you bring the numbers more into line with each other, and I think part of that involves a smaller game in general, whether it's at the top or the bottom, for for this type of, to explain some of these numbers. It's not necessarily the best thing, obviously, for racing. We all know that, because you're doing this by shrinking the game. But when you do shrink it, a lot of these things happen.
How much, from your perspective, because you are essentially dealing with clients that that have broodmare bands, and I'm curious if you sense this is partly the result of careful culling and enhanced broodmare bands, and just better mares, and and I mean, is that how how else would quality be identified?
Well, quality is a difficult term to put a name on it, because there's so many definitions of it. But obviously, if you are breeding to a new stallion, regardless of the price range, you don't have that stallion associated with failure. So here's the opposite side of what when people talk about every stallion should have opportunity and stuff. Well, the market is going to go away from stallions with, say, 5-6 crops that haven't done anything, and they're going to go to either a proven stallion or a young stallion that doesn't have a blemish on its record. Because the trend is more towards that, because it's a commercial marketplace, really, what it's doing is it's taking, quote unquote, more failures or more average horses out of the equation. So, just think about it. Say you bred to a stallion in his 4th year at stud. His 2-year-olds didn't do anything. His 3-year-olds didn't do anything. The horse is a bust, and now you're bringing that horse's yearling to market. Well, there, the quality is glaring, and you're going to get punished. So what people are doing is they're avoiding that possible outcome by going to 1st and 2nd years, so that they don't have a punisher effect when they take their yearling to marketplace. Now, because the game is much more commercial and it's geared to commercial marketplace, because less people breed and race their own horses, what you end up seeing then is more, quote, quality in terms of non-failure. Now, a lot of these first-year horses are going to fail anyway, but when they go to the marketplace, they don't have that check mark against it like that 4th-year horse you bred to does. Proven, and now you have that yearling by that 4th-year horse. Would you rather have a yearling by a 4th-year horse who's failed now, or a yearling by a 1st-year horse where there's hype on the horse and there's no failure mark because he's had no runners? So you see how that sort of drives it organically towards this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And in fact, it also Sid, answers a question that hadn't really been asked, which is why there are so many new stallions entering the market every year.
Well, that's why, because there's demand for that.
Exactly.
Because
I mean,
since it's a commercial marketplace, more people want stallions that don't have that failure next to them.
Exactly. And so for the people,
when people in general complain, oh God, they breed all these first-year horses. Well, if you're in the game, if you're actually in the game and you had a mare, I wonder what you're going to do. Are you going to go to a 4th-year horse and possibly have him bomb, and then you have to sell the yearling? Or are you going to go to a horse that has a hedge built in, no failure next to it?
Exactly. Well, and I hope that I mean the fact that this sort of came up as a tangent to the overall recap of the sale, but it I don't know if it will quell the people who seem to be aghast at stallions and young horses going to stud, but it's a very viable and reasonable explanation of the dynamic.
And not only that, but every year you're going to have some new stallions that are going to be the next stars. So, McKinsey with 2 Grade 1 colts already so far this year on a 35,000 subsidy. That was a great move. Part of it is, do you like it? It's just like MLB draft. People always wonder why they're paying so much money for high school kids rather than paying the same type of money for college guys that have at least a more proven track record. Well, the reason is that the college guy usually has a ceiling on it. They know he has a track record, but there's a ceiling. Whereas with the high school guy, there's no ceiling yet. It's just like the first year sire. We don't know what it could do. He could become the next, major superstar, right?
Yeah.
And so there's always, and of course you got to do your homework. How good is that shortstop? Does he have, can he throw from different arm angles? Is he an athletic kid? Does he have 6'2" speed for the 60, whatever? How's his bat? Is he a switch hitter? Is he a right-handed thrower and a left-handed hitter? Of course, they all, just like in analyzing a potential stallion, you do your diligence with experts to try to isolate the best high school kids. But it's the same kind of thing. That's why they pay big money for high school kids.
I love it. What a perfect analogy. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but that's, big teams, big owners, small owners, everybody's wildcatting for a superstar. They need, especially now with everybody at every level buying in partnerships, multiple horses. They're looking for, if they buy 10, they're looking for 1 or 2 to hit, right? So, here's the difference. When you have an owner breeder that's breeding and then racing his own horse, well, if you're breeding to race, you do the opposite thing. You only want proven stallions because you got to stick with that horse. So you go to a proven horse that produces runners, and you do the research. Oh, well, it's a good nick with this mare. The physical match is great. You get the horse. You're invested in that horse, and then you try to give that horse time, and you do everything you can to get that horse to the races. That's a big, big difference from breeding commercially. And there are very few people that do the home breeding thing. Why? It's very expensive. You have to live with what you breed. And because you have to kind of go to proven stallions at every level, the expensive ones are very expensive, and the lower ones have a ceiling on them. So you kind of expect that, okay, I'm going to get a bread and butter horse with this mating. And you're okay with that. Or with this particular mating, I'm putting a lot of money in, but, I may get that superstar. But those considerations are strictly for owner breeders. It's a great model, but people can't afford to do it. That's why there's so few of them left.
Yep. Well, and I'll fold in the great Aaron Yagoda quote. Aaron says about breeding, I believe in God I just don't want him picking out my bloodstock.
Yeah, that's good.
That, it's because I remember at some point back when we were just getting going and saying asking Aaron for advice and I said what about how come you don't breed any? He says that was his response, and I've never forgotten
it. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, I'm glad we did this. I mean, any other anecdotal info that from your clients that shop the sale?
Well, prices are huge. I mentioned last week that Mr. 50 sold a Tapit colt for $1,050,000. The reserve I put on that colt, $299,000.
Oh, Jesus! Holy cow!
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So that just tells you that when a lot of factors align, there's, especially at the top of the market, everybody's aligned in a partnership. So say there are 30 people that buy at the top of the market just as an exercise. Well, say now there are 3 entities because 10 are in one, 10 are in another, and 10 are in the other. So now you've gone from 30 individual buyers to 3 because there's all these partnerships. Everybody's sophisticated in identifying the top ones. So they get on the top ones and those prices take off. But essentially it's 3 buyers instead of 30.
Yeah. Although the one element of those, what was it, 36? I want to say it was $36 million and above hips and 24 different individual buyers of those 36 horses.
Yeah. But those 24 individual buyers could be,
yes,
those buying entities could,
Agreed.
be. And by the way, the converse affects this thing too, because instead of taking 30 buyers on a horse, now you got 3, and if they don't like your horse, all 3 are out. Instead of with 30, 25 might have been out, but there might still be 5 on it.
Right.
So now you get
Right.
pressed the other way.
That's that's an interesting aspect, and so there's less there's less hands going up in the bidding process, and less likelihood to drive up. Although it seems at the top end, especially, and that top end extended deep into probably catalog 3. It seemed that anything that had the right page and a good physical, there was plenty of interest that meant competition in the bidding.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what these when you started to show off with those figures, it showed that kind of held through most of the sale too.
Yeah.
At different levels.
Exactly.
So, those are all positives as well.
No, it's as much as some dialogue or some some drum beating wants to pretend that the opposite is true. The things are better than anybody, or certainly better than some people want to admit. And the actual execution of the industry, if you've got your finger on that pulse, you have to acknowledge that things are quite healthy.
Yeah.
So nice. What
It's a different game, though. Yeah.
Any thoughts about what we saw at with the Pennsylvania Derby and the Cotillion? Particularly.
Well, that was real great franking the form of earlier season. What I really like about both those winners is they've been going through the spring and now headed towards the Breeders' Cup.
True.
Usually what happens is the early spring 3-year-olds peter out, youth groups come in to take control. It's great to see the Preakness winner come back and win this race and head towards the fall Breeders' Cup, viable. Same with, of course, Torpedo Anna. She wasn't obviously as visually impressive as in some of her other races, but that's to be expected. And she did what she had to win. So I never take anything away from a horse that wins.
Yeah, 100%. That part. That's a good point. I mean, we're going to look toward the the end of the season and Breeders' Cup, and there's going to be any number of horses, even Fierceness.
Think about it: Fierceness, Dornoch, Seize the Gray. All three of those have been going, and they're all in it right now for the championship.
Yeah, exactly. It's a, in fact, I was talking to Andy off the air, and Andy had a crazy question. He said, "What happens if Sierra Leone wins the Breeders' Cup Classic?"
Yeah, if Sierra Leone wins, then you got another situation, 4 horses, but with his lack of winning beforehand, it's like saying Rich Strike is the champion 3-year-old.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I know.
Steve, I got to run.
Go ahead. This was perfect.
I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate it. Good luck the next 48 hours, whatever it is.
All right, I appreciate it. Bye.
Wow. All right. No, that was a full-fledged visit. Even though we just thought we'd catch up for a minute. You know what I lost track of though. Let me go back to the platform, and I think, there we go. Sid, Dick's pick 3 is a winner. Red Elegance wins the nightcap. Pays $10.50. I'm just seeing it on the screen. Nice job, Dick. Let's pull this up. Let's see if the total numbers are, it says finished. So, Dick, unbelievable. Oh my gosh. I thought the 2 was second. The 11 was second. And the 11 was a big price because the pick 3 Conso paid monstrous. The 175 pick 3, $283.60. $283.60. So a fat, basically 10-1. Right? 3 by 3 by 3. Yeah. You got 10-1. Good job. Well done, Dick. That 11 that was second, and this is what Dick has reminded you that there's the Conso, and the 11 was a huge price because he paid $31.10 to show. Wow. Oh, wow. Hold on. Now we're curious. The 11 Eternal 64-1. Lyle Hewitson. $1,200 Conso. So like Dick points out, even the horse that finishes second, you get paid on the pick 3. But we'll just have to be happy with our nearly 300. All right. Great job. Dick Powell hitting, and we'll turn our attention actually to Presque Isle. And Pat Morrell's going to join us. We've also got Seth coming up, of course. Seth Merrow in a little bit. And Brendan Walsh. We're going to close out the morning with Brendan, who I've been threatening. I've been threatening a Brendan Walsh visit for weeks, and we kept missing each other. But he kept piling up wins, so it's all right. we'll get Pimo. I wanted to get Pimo in and get his place for the day at Presque, as well as congratulate him on the great day and the clever move. All right, so let's grab that while we got a chance. I was also fishing to see if we couldn't get see if we can't for tomorrow. See if we get Mike Beer or David, and we could do a David Aragona. We could do a. Although I'm going to be at Aqueduct. We'll do the show from Aqueduct on Friday. So we'll see if David is going to be. Some days he comes out, but I wanted to get a little added insight on the pick six. Looked at. I guess I hadn't looked at the card adequately, to the satisfaction of Andy yesterday. He's unbelievable. The cards get drawn, and so he'll handicap. He'll go through the card, right after it's drawn. Then he'll do his serious handicapping, by literally that night or the next day. So he's, he has got the work done, 4 days in advance, essentially. I don't have that. First of all, it's not necessary. For me, I don't, right? I don't have to be that far in front of it. But then, from his perspective, if you haven't gone over the card tooth and nail, you're like a clown. That was you made me laugh. So finally, I just said it. I just put my hands up. I said, "Go ahead, go through the card." The point when I mentioned Baby Yoda yesterday, the point I was going to make about Baby Yoda is that everybody looks at him and is going to say tomorrow, "Oh, well, he's a Saratoga lover." Well, he happens to have 2 wins at Aqueduct as well. So don't look at him and say, "Oh, he's strictly a Saratoga horse." Baby Yoda. Pat Morrell is standing by after a triumphant maneuver, taking the Masters and Mile card and moving it from Monday to Friday. It may have inconvenienced me, Pat, but it was a huge score. It was a mammoth score, all-time best handle ever in the track's history. Yeah. So congratulations to you and Matt.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. I'm just so thankful for Matt Ennis, allowing me the opportunity to give him that idea, and we ran with it. And fortunately for us, it worked out. It was just such a little sweet spot for us at that 4 o'clock post. And Churchill was finishing up, we were starting, and nobody else was really on until 7:30. So we got the lion's share of everything, and it was just a smart position for us to be in, to be quite honest with you. So, plus the racing was amazing that night, Steve. We had some really good races. It made me feel really good. Plus, I think pretty good night of handicapping too.
Well, that's the best then. That's the cherry on the sundae.
I tried to beat Roses for Deborah, but I had her in my top 3 selections, don't get me wrong, but we tried to beat her that night because we knew she was going to be the favorite. And she was so impressive. Like the mare, I should say, is an absolute monster. She broke the track record that night. We've never had this many people here either before.
Is that right?
And yeah, it was a huge crowd. And it was just so much fun, and especially when we got the handle numbers, the 2.65 million. Like I had a few drinks. Let me put it that way. I had a few drinks afterwards. So it was it just makes it so much fun working here, and our marquee day, and you've been to this racetrack. This is a cool place, man. We're the biggest little racetrack in America, and that's the way I look at it. We really are. We're the biggest little racetrack in America. And if you don't like it up here, then there's something wrong with you. You should have your head examined.
It's funny that you went against Roses for Deborah. I'm against her all the time, but I actually knew to give in to her on Friday. Yeah. I mean, and I had Christophe the other day, and I mean, he was delighted with this. It comes at a perfect time, and now she's 4 for 5 with a second. Correct. Over the surface. This was a well-timed spot for her.
Well, I mean, she went 113-4. I mean, this horse was smoking.
Crazy.
She couldn't get through. And when I talked to Irad about it in the interview, if you got to see it, he's like, "Man, I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I couldn't go anywhere." And when you first watch the race live, until you get to watch that replay, sometimes you'll miss a few things. And I thought maybe he was just kind of floundering, right in the middle of the pack. But that really wasn't the case. And he was just like waiting for a place to go. And now where they're headed now.
Well, sure.
I'm sure they're going to Del Mar, so for Breeders' Cup. So it's kind of exciting stuff.
Well, and he said that I guess they're looking to sell her as well. So it's one of those scenarios. And she's going to come in. She's come on off the win.
I would think, Steve. Don't you think she'll probably go to Night of Stars sale?
Sure.
I mean, regardless of what she does at Breeders' Cup, she's still going to bring a lot of money. So we all know
map
that.
out of a Bernardini mare.
Yep.
Bred by Blackstone.
And a Pennsylvania bred.
Yeah.
Everybody makes fun of us sometimes. Not everybody, but some people do. And we just keep showing up, man. We just keep showing up.
Well, Roses for Deborah. And should mention, by the way, because we focused on the winner. But what about Pandora's Gift? That was a very nice try from her.
Well, I mean, we talked to I got to talk to Stuart Williams after the race, and he's like, "Man," he goes, "I can't believe how well she ran." And I'll be honest with you, I think Ben Curtis may have moved just a smidge too early, and maybe he would have beat Roses for Deborah. I'm not sure, but regardless, both of those fillies ran their hearts out. And when I talked to Stuart, he's like, "I am so excited. I'm so thrilled. This horse has done so much traveling. It was, he had to make sure she was going to qualify to get into the race. He had to start making quarantine plans, everything else. So there was a lot of moving parts just to get her here to Erie. And he was just over the moon about it. She ran a massive race. There's no two ways around it, so.
What's he doing with her? Is he owns her?
I know the Barbarians were at the gate the day after the race. Let me put it that way, because I think they're going to start throwing some money at him. And I mean, just the horse is grade 2 place now. She ran her guts out against a very, very good field that night.
Yep.
Obviously, the winner's going to Breeders' Cup. So there you go. So that would be my guess. This horse may stay stateside now. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm thinking.
Well, she's a 3-year-old. I mean, so if he was looking to showcase her, it was successful. And I mean, you mentioned the travel, and she competed at a high level. I mean, granted, she was beaten soundly in the Commonwealth Cup, but that was an ambitious spot at Ascot to run a.
Well, yeah, to run in the grade 1. Then she came back and she was stakes placed in the grade 2. Now she stakes placed or grade 3. I'm sorry. Now she stakes placed in an American grade 2, and she's still stateside. So I'm pretty sure I would think they would probably get something done.
Yeah,
that would be my thought. I mean, Steve, we always had that old adage that horses are like strawberries; they go bad overnight. And sometimes you do have to take the money off the table.
Sure.
And then sometimes you just got to say, you know what? This is the only time I'm ever going to have a horse this good in my life. I'm just going to keep rolling. And you pray that it works out that way. And, you know, it just depends on how you feel and your level of comfort when it comes to risk.
Sure.
You know, that's all.
That story was sort of slipped through the cracks. Of course, Clement was third as well with Gallon a Rush, and
right. And that's who I
Nice's
tried to beat Roses for Deborah with.
Yeah,
was the other Clement horse, but it just didn't work out that way.
Well, and then the Kelsey Danner, Nicest Pie for Dee Dee McKay. They took money. They took a lot of money.
Yeah, they did. I like the horse. I did like the horse. I actually had the horse in my top 3 selections, but just wasn't her day that day. But I mean, we did good handicapping. You know, 50% of my top selections were winners, 8 out of 10 in the top 3. So it was a pretty good night.
Good job.
And it was just so much fun, Steve. There were so many people here, and it's just a testament to how good our racing office is, and the car that Alan Plever, our racing secretary, put together, and Matt for just believing in all of us, and especially me for wanting to change things. I don't know, radically, but changing things, and it worked out. And it was just, the weather was perfect. The people had a blast. I don't know, man. I'm still on a little bit of a high on it. I'm being honest.
I love it.
I love this racetrack, man.
Well, the other results back into the mile, and Mrs. Weber's had a good several weeks. Forever Super, also a track record. This for the mile and the 16th. I had Jose D'Angelo yesterday. He was delighted. That KC Chief, who came in on a roll, and they were the top 2 choices, so they were separated by a head. And then earlier, you know, you and I, when we previewed, because we were focused on the 2-day pick 4, we didn't talk about the 2 baby races, but Trombetta, of course, with Todd Mostoler's Commonwealth New Era, and with Flossie Trombetta as well, one of the owners. Bucaro, a Bucaro Maryland bred, and this one that Mike's that actually Mike and Marie bred with Commonwealth, and Bucaro a last to first winner under Antonio Gallardo in the Fitz-Dixon.
And that's how that horse runs. Obviously, he likes to come from off the pace. That was one of the races I missed. I just didn't like him that day. I loved Ron Potts' horse, Shadow Factor, out of Amy Fairfowler, the Factor horse. I just loved that horse that day, and just really couldn't get it done that afternoon. But Bucaro did, and Gallardo just continues his dominance this year here at Prescott.
Well, and you mentioned Ron Potts. Potts is the other Potts horse ran a big race at 25-1. That Spite the Snow was second.
Spite the Snow ends up running second. Yes, exactly. And it was funny because when I talked to Ronnie, because I mean, you know, he used to train for me quite a bit when I had horses before I started becoming, working here at Prescott. And obviously, I can't own them anymore. But I said, hey, Potsy, I said, what do you think about Shadow Factor today? He's like, don't discount Spite the Snow. I'm like, that horse can't hang with these. And I literally said that to him. He's like, I'm telling you, he's useful. That's what he kept saying. He's useful and he's handy. That's what he kept telling me. And the son of a gun ran a big race.
Yeah, he did. Then there was the girls' race. Let's slip that in before we get a play or two for today. Foxtastic. Josie Carroll comes down from Woodbine, brings Cascamora with her, and a romping winner, the Spitestown filly.
Well, I had this horse picked second. I thought maybe the 9, the Brad Cox horse, was going to beat her, but I even said it in my paddock preview. I even said, listen, Josie Carroll's bringing a maiden to a stakes race. This is a tough horse. Obviously, if you just take a look at the pedigree, the filly's by Spitetown. She's out of a Medalla d'Oro mare, Ellen J. Foxwoods. I mean, what else do you need to say?
Yeah.
You get Double K on the horse, who I just admire so much. I think Kazushi's just such a great rider. He's just fresh off a grade 1 out in California, if I'm not mistaken. So with that being said, or at Woodbine, I mean, wherever it was, I know he just won a grade 1. But with that being said, you knew she had a trick up her sleeve because Josie's sharp. she's incredibly sharp. And if you even look at my program I have in front of me right now, it says maiden on there because obviously I wanted to make sure I remembered that. I had her pick second. She ends up winning and winning well. And that they've got a pretty darn nice horse on their hands with that filly by Spikestown.
It was a very good afternoon, evening of racing. And the one thing I have had a hard time finding, and maybe you've got the answer. What did the 2-day wagers pay?
What did they pay? I'm trying to remember what they did pay.
They were not on.
Well,
they were,
with Caesar Gray in there, that did help quite a bit because they were favorites. I know my play that I made wasn't a ton of money. It was like a $9. I think it was a $9 double. I'm just trying to think what else it was. I remember I put $100 in that one account just to play that, and I got $135.50 back. I got
nice.
So it went up. It went up. Obviously the play minus the plays, and it went back up to $135.50. So the pick 4 was a little better.
Oh, let me see here. It might be. Let me go to. What I'm going to do. Let me go to.
Oh, we got to go to Equibase. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing here.
I didn't even bother looking at it literally until Sunday evening because I had kind of forgotten about making that wager.
Here we go. Let's see if it's here. No, it's not on this thing. Unbelievable. So annoying.
I know that we did very well handle-wise with like the pick 4. They put 75,000 in it.
Yeah, I thought the 100 was the number to that. Back of my mind, I thought 100. If anything close to 100 would have been it's a good start for something that people that was a new.
I mean, we
wrinkle.
Pushed it as hard as we could.
Yeah, no, we got out
without question.
But I really love to be able to tell people what see if you can't get me the answer on that. And I'll
just,
get
you
back
know what?
to everybody with it.
Well,
that's all right.
Do?
Let me get here. Let me move. Let's get a couple of plays from you today.
Today's card. Which race you
We
want to
did.
go over?
I do have Dick Powell. For those that missed Dick earlier, Dick delivered the Happy Valley pick 3. He's got the 4-5 with the 1-2-3 with the 7 in the first pick 3 of the day. Races 1, 2, 3. 4-5 with 1-2-3 with 7.
Here at Prescott, or are you talking about Happy Valley?
No, both. I mean, Dick hit the Presque Isle and hit the Happy Valley, and that's the Presque Isle that he's giving out today.
Okay. Well, first race, I'm 4-5-6. I do like the Ricky Hendricks horse coming down from the maiden claiming 16 now down to the 7,500. So, and Ricky Hendricks comes here a lot, and he likes to put these horses in. He drops them in. He likes to get them claimed and moved on, and that's kind of his MO. He wants to win and lose them. So I like the 5-horse Blue Soldier a little bit. You're going to get David Delgado though today. Jock change here for Marissa Monserrate. Horse ran 3rd last time in the main claiming 7,500 here to Timo, not Pimo, but to Timo Rumista, who hit the board yesterday too. So nice little play there with Blue Soldier.
All right.
And the 6, so I threw in Hollywood Hero.
Well, Dick wants the 5, so that there's a commonality.
Mm-hmm. Which other race, Steve?
Anything, whatever you like.
What, I kind of like the 3rd a little bit. You got the 7. This is a 62.50 mile and 70 yards. You got the 7-horse in here, Son of Liberty.
That's Dick's single. Dick singles. Yeah. He's singling Son of Liberty.
Horse looks pretty decent. I rod in the irons here. Izzy Rodriguez. This horse, 3 back here at Presque back in July. Second by head, Pablo Morales was in there. Ron Potts, the city leader, beat him that day. And then he ran a pair of 4th place finishes right in a row. 4th by a neck to Newbern, was not beat hardly at all. I mean, it was a very much a blanket finish. I think this horse is going to be solid in here. Also threw in the 5 Max Cat, and my long shot play in there is the 6 horse Snip the Roses. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I kind of like that horse a little bit. We do have a couple scratches though in the 5th in the allowance. No 2, no 5, so we lost those out of that race, unfortunately. So it kind of looks like Major Thomas, the Bernie Houghton shipper coming in from Penn National, should be the play there.
That's the 4 and the 5th.
The 4 and the 5th, yeah, tough little car. We do have a maiden special weight also. You've got a Bill Morey horse coming in. I think it's probably going to end up being 4 to 5. Azoi, I believe is how you pronounce the name, Azoi. Antonio Gallardo in the irons. This horse is going to come in from the maiden special weight at Hawthorne. Off the weeds, ran a bad, I guess you could say a bad third because it got beat 14.5. This horse doesn't really, I don't think really likes the dirt all that much, to be quite honest with you. This horse on the turf prior to that at Ellis in the maiden claiming 30 ran second by a neck. And, you know, even though it's maiden claiming 30s out there, there's still a little bit salty and has run well enough on the synthetic. I think it's worthy to be the favorite today and going to close from off the pace. We did have some rain though lately, so we're going to see a lot more closers. It's almost, Steve, the opposite of the dirt. So if you have the rain and it's sloppy, usually the front end holds. It's the opposite here at Prescott. We've kind of noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
looks like still nice between you and Dick, and frankly, you guys overlap pretty closely on the early part of the card. And I want to thank, I actually got both Paul Halloran and Tom Herman, both with the pick 4 number, 48.25 for 50 cents, 48.25 for 50 cents on the pick 4, which, you know, frankly, with those 4 winners was, you know, particularly with the filly, between Torpedo Anna and Roses for Deborah, nothing wrong with that number.
No, not at all.
No, that's quite good. And in fact, the $2
Keystone Double
93, the double paid $35.20 for $2, 193 on the 193 on the pick 4. Excellent, Pat. Well done.
Thank you, brother.
I wanted to make sure you got proper props.
You're such a good part of the Prescott Hounds program every year. We really do appreciate you, Steve. I really mean that when I say that too. It's a big deal that you come here and you give us a lot of press, and it means a lot, and it means a lot to everybody that works here. It means a lot to our fans in our community here too.
Well, that's very kind. It's you know, you became an important conduit for a stopover, helping me to and from my Kentucky trip. So I can't thank you enough.
Well, we're thrilled that we can help you. Believe me when I tell you that.
Pat Morrell, everybody, PMO Picks on Twitter, and they're back at it today at 3:00 at Presque Isle after the big night and early evening at on Friday with the Grade 2 Masters and the Mile as well. Pat, good luck. We'll talk soon. You got it.
See you, brother. Bye-bye.
All right. Pat Morrell, folks. Seth Merrow going to join us. We got Seth to come, and we've got a Brendan Walsh visit too before we wrap up this morning. And while we reach for Seth, I was surprised that it's funny. Tina said to me on Sunday morning. She said, "Are you doing the show with Seth? Boots on the ground in Philly?" And I said, "No, he didn't ask." So, as it happens, I would have had to have said no, because we ended up going into Manhattan and had the nicest time with Spencer and Jenna. They got a new apartment on the Upper East Side. It was great. We had a nice brunch. Seth Merrow, good morning.
Good morning. So you're doing a little New York City, Upper East Side. Oh my goodness, you're all over the place.
Well,
and fill me in. I don't follow Hong Kong enough, and maybe I have to now follow Dick. This pick 3 consolation idea, but is it only your horse runs second in the last race, or can it run second in any leg?
No, in the anchor leg.
Okay, I like that. It's fun.
Yeah, and it was a bonanza, obviously, but doesn't matter. The key is that we hit with his A, his A ticket.
Yeah.
That's what matters. Nicely done.
And as you said, that was very good with a very reasonable ticket. It was $300, so there's nothing wrong with that.
In fact, he just literally just texted me, and he played for $2, $5.67.
Nice
for $2. Nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and I started as I was reaching, as Brian was reaching for you. It occurred to me as Tina and I think we were on the Jersey Turnpike by then, and she said, "Is Seth calling you? Or do you have to do TV?" And I said, "You know what? He didn't ask. There was no boots on the ground request."
I'm trying to think what I did. Oh, I had Stabile on Sunday, and we previewed the Finger Lakes.
I had him Monday. I had him on Monday.
Yeah, I saw
very
that.
Funny.
I mean, that was a nice little stakes card on Monday.
It really was.
Yeah. Still could have had you on. I don't know why I did. I'm trying to think now. Why didn't I? That's a good question. Because certainly it was a very good day down there, and getting overlooked a little bit in the whole thing. It was a nice day at Churchill as well. Batten down, I think. I said on TV on Sunday, it's late now, kind of in the 3-year-old season, so he's not vying for any titles there, but he kind of puts himself in the conversation now as a 4-year-old to watch. I think that was a good return to expectations for Batten down, and it was the same, I think, for Miss Justify a little bit later on the 3-year-old filly side of things. So again, some things maybe got overlooked a little bit. Oh, and my main squeeze, New York bred, with Open Company. She's turned, and I want to say she's got like $1 million, if I'm not mistaken. When I pulled up the PPs on the weekend, she's just been phenomenal as a New York bred, and now being vying in Open Company. So she was notable too. So again, things. A lot of times a big day like that overshadows, and there were great storylines that deserve to take a lot of attention. Wayne Lucas at his age, getting the victory in the Pennsylvania Derby, sees the gray. Torpedo Anna, the storyline there might be now, maybe we have to take a second look at the buyer and the Travers, and it's going to be interesting to see now what Fierceness does in his upcoming race. And so, can he get back to it? She got the numbers that she kind of more typically throws. It was maybe a little light as compared to those, but not much. But she ran, she did what she had to do and got it done. And she's kind of in the conversation, I would think, for Horse of the Year, depending how the end of the year plays out. And then the other horse that was very good and had the consternation of Twitter. I don't know where you come down on this, but for me, I'm okay. Just it's like an ATM machine. They're cashing and running, and they had a nice full field. I think people were speculating after next one up at Saratoga, well, who's going to show up in the Greenwood? Well, they wound up a little field in there, and so next takes the Greenwood Cup and adds to his storyline this year, which has been very impressive. So that was a fun day down at Parks. That said, I think Parks has to step up to the plate and start to invest in that turf course. And turf racing is so popular. I think if they invested in a turf course and made it a legitimate turf course, they would do great for 5 months a year. I can't understand, because it's not a new problem. Their turf course has always had some criticism, and certainly deservedly so over the weekend. But I think it's time to step up and put some money into it.
Yeah. What transpired was just inexcusable. It's embarrassing.
And like I say, where they are, I mean, the Northeast is so active in the summertime. You're going to pull horses over from, the training in New Jersey or Monmouth, New York. You'll pull horses in to run on turf if you have a legitimate turf course, and you wind up with big fields that'll attract a lot of attention. So it's kind of funny that they just don't seem to be willing to step up to the plate there.
No, and it's not a new phenomenon by any means. And as to your other question, I had Doug Cowan's. We have Doug yesterday. I think we had Doug maybe yesterday. Yeah, we did. Now he's making he wanted or had expected that there was going to be the aftercare, the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance marathon race, but they're not running it. So now he's giving the serious consideration. And he and Michael, the owner, Michael Foster, and let's see.
Yeah, I think that's the way it played out after the race. Post-race comments, they were saying, do we go to 1.25 miles on the dirt again in the Classic, or the 1.5 miles on the turf, surface or distance? And it seemed like the immediate post-race comments were kind of tilting towards maybe the turf, but that may be the tougher field. Actually, it'll be interesting to see where they go. But yeah, having the Breeders' Cup and Breeders' Cup weekend, having done away with that marathon, it limited their options for the remainder of the year.
How do you? I haven't asked this question. I haven't badgered anybody with the 3-year-old champion question, but how does that result? Where I saw some people arguing, the merits of the various, the Classic wins plus other. Where do you measure up? Seize the Gray after adding this, to his resume.
Well, I think with his record, he's right up there with Dornoch and Fierceness. I would think. And Mystic Dan, with the Derby win, but not participating late, he's kind of faded maybe out of the conversation. But I think Dornoch, Fierceness, and Seize the Gray, it's going to come down to who plays out the end of the year. I think all things being equal at this point, I would think if folks were voting, I would think Fierceness would get a lot of, because I just think Fierceness on his best day appears to be maybe the best 3-year-old at this point. I would think voters might tend to go that way, but I think it's still open to debate.
I started to ask Sid this question and didn't really have a chance to flesh it out. But Andy certainly had the wildest scenario because everybody is saying, well, let's see where the 3-year-olds finish against each other in the Classic. And Andy said, what happens if Sierra Leone wins the Classic?
That might juggle things up, but I just don't know whether he has enough of a resume on the rest of the year.
How does he know? Wait a minute. Well, go through the resume. Right? You got the Bluegrass win, and then you've got Classic placements. What's wrong with that resume?
I think the other ones with wins in the grade ones are going to attract more attention. And probably should, I think.
Well, here's what he's got. Let's say he wins the Classic. He's got the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Bluegrass, and the Risen Star. Second in the Derby and Jim Dandy. Third in the Belmont and Travers. He's 3-year-old champion. In fact, he's 3-year-old. You could even make an argument he's horse of the year. Either him or the filly.
Now I'm going to root for him to win to see how the voting goes. Because I don't know. I don't know if he could win. I mean, I see what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing necessarily. But to me, I just think voters don't rate placings as strongly unless it is a real toss-up. And I don't. If he wins the Class, well, like I say, maybe I have to root for that now. See how it breaks out the voting.
It's a fun question, and I hadn't until I sat down. I mean, at first I just thought, well, bluegrass slash classic versus Preakness Pennsylvania Derby versus Florida Derby Travers. I mean, it's fun. It's a crazy equation.
It certainly would add to the conversation. There's no question about that.
I love it. Of course, the Philly's the Philly. It's kind of cool that she's right here again and staying here for another month, right?
Yeah, still seeing the workouts on Twitter and whatnot. Yeah, absolutely. And I think C's the Gray maybe back here too.
No, he's I think back to Kentucky. I think. Right?
Yeah, you might be right.
Because Lucas, I had Lucas on Monday, and
he definitely went back to Kentucky. Yeah. The horse had been up here before the Pennsylvania Derby, but you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted him. Right? I'll tell you. Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what he said. He was on his way back to that he was heading to Kentucky. I almost asked you. I was going to ask you about the pick 6, but it's not today. It's tomorrow. So I won't press you that. So what? And no, you didn't do TV today?
I'm going in. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and what about the morning shows?
I haven't done a weekday morning in years. What are you kidding? Come on, man. Get with the program. Not outside of Saratoga. Not outside.
I'm just used to I guess I'm just used to the Saratoga schedule then.
Yeah, the Saratoga. It's every morning, and it takes me about 2 weeks to get out of that too. Where I'm like, oh, I got to get up in the morning. And I'm like, no, I got a little time before I have to get up there. But yeah, no, we haven't done. And I keep running into people. It's been funny the last 2 months. I keep running into a bunch of people who I used to have on regular on the morning show up at Woodbine. Mike Penna, I used to have him as a regular on the morning show. Ashley Mallow, I'd have her on talking Fort Erie on the morning show on the weekday. So there was a whole weekday. Lisa Blow, I'd have her on talking some Fort Erie too. I keep running into people who used to be regulars, and now without the weekday show, I can't really fit them in as easily.
Huh. Well, I don't know why maybe it's just because there's a lot of times when I reach out to you're on your way in, or that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at different times of year, I got to, once it's they start kicking the post time earlier, I got to get in earlier. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and so you're right. Well, that's a good point. And if with daylight savings, that'll change pretty soon. I'm half of the year. I'm probably in the studio when you're talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You say to me, you're on your way, or you're going to give me 10 minutes, and I'll be in the be at the Clubhouse Racebook. Well, you got to play today before I got Brendan Walsh coming on.
I do. I'll give you a quick pick 3 at Churchill, because the 5th race to me is very interesting today. And I haven't seen the scratches, I have to admit. So
hold on, I'll pull them up.
So the 5th race is one of the restricted maiden special races, and I have it 9, 8, 6, and 3 in the 5th, and I'll probably play around with an exacta box here too, because I think this is an interesting race. But I'm going to put the number 9 on top. Brother Kenny going out for Bill Morey by Motown. Motown this year, 48 first-time starters, 8 wins, 6 seconds, and 6 thirds. There was a sibling called Concealed Carry that won the career debut. Another sibling, Old Fashioned Club, won in the 2nd start. Another sibling won in the 3rd start. So I thought there was a win early, top and bottom. Bill Morey can have him ready out of the box. So at 8-1, I thought Brother Kenny was interesting. Hoff, 2nd-time starter for Steve Asmussen. His horses always seem to improve in the 2nd start, and this one doesn't have to go forward a whole lot from a decent-looking debut effort. Landing Craft for Brad Cox, firster by Omaha Beach. Bermuda Blitz, First Fight Vacoma. Always like those. I'm leaving out Moral on the rail. That one scares me, but I'll use all four of these. As I said, I'll probably a little exacta box too. In the fifth, I'm going to go 9, 8, 6, and 3. In the sixth race, I'll just use the 7 and the 8. I have it 7, 8, 5, 4. But Streets of Paris, I don't see any reason why this horse isn't a player for Marshall Graham and company. Matt Shearer trains, comes in with a bullet work. I think fits okay with this bunch. And morning line is 10-1, so we'll see if that holds. And then I'll also use a logical Despo's Dream for Joe Sharp, who makes a turf to dirt move, comes in from Ellis and gets a little class relief. Gaffleone on board, another one coming in with a nice work. So I think that one's logical too. So I'll go 2 deep in the 6 with the 7 and the 8. And then in the 7th race, I am going to use 3 in there. I have it 4, 6, 2, and 5, and I'll use the top 3. The 4, Mr. Wireless. Mr. Wireless seems to have the class edge. Last time this horse was outside of Stakes Company, a nice win down at the fairgrounds a little earlier this year, so makes that move into an optional claimer with the C condition here out of Stakes Company. Frosted Departure for Ken McPeak, I think also is going to fit nicely with this group stepping out of Stakes Company. Lots of early speed, might try to steal it. And War Campaign, Tyler Gaffleone on board this one. Hasn't been seen since early in July, so a little bit of a layup, but the workouts seem to be okay over at Keeneland. So again, in the 7th, I'll use the 4, 6, and 2, and I'll go over the numbers there again. In the 5th race, 3, 6, 8, 9, with in the 6th race, 7 and 8, with in the 7th race, 2, 4, and 6.
2, 4, and 6
in the last leg, yeah.
2, 4, and 6. Mount Masata from Amos, and Brunch Punch from Cox, and Zen Moment from Eric Reed. So 3, 6, 8, 9 with 7, 8 with 2, 4, 6 with 2, 4, 6.
No. It was a pick 3. So we're ending with the 7th race.
I see. All right. You didn't. Okay. I thought you were going. Oh, yeah. All right. It's a 9 race. You're right. I'm just looking at the very good. All right. So 3, 6, 8, 9.
8, 9.
With 7, 8 with 2, 4, 6.
You got it. Starting in the 5th. You got it.
$12 for 50 cents. Best of luck.
Thank you. I think that 5th race could be fun. Could juice things up nicely. That's the game plan anyway.
Go get it.
I'm going to try, and good luck to everybody today.
Seth Merrill, watch him shortly on this afternoon on Capital OTB. Seth Merrill 2 on your Twitter, but number 1 in your heart.
I understand, Capital OTB. You're gonna be doing a little juice on Breeders' Cup weekend for us.
Apparently, yeah. I'm going to do a bankroll scenario.
I like it.
Right,
I like it after the big
$100
big play of the day.
Yeah, 14
this summer.
14 races.
Yeah.
All right,
should be fun. Yeah,
looking forward to it. All right, let me get Brendan Walsh on.
All right, take it easy again. Good luck to everybody. Have fun.
Seth Merrill, folks, and little pick 3. So we've already had 1 hit today with Dick at Happy Valley, and you got Presque Isle and Churchill for this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll swing into action on the pick 6 carryover. All right, Brendan Walsh, I think, is finally standing by. Brendan.
Steve, good morning.
We've been. I'm not even going to remember the horses that you've been winning with. I've been expecting you for 3 weeks. I've been trying to get you on.
Yeah, it's been a little tied up lately, Steve.
Right. Well, at least I see you. I keep seeing you. From Saratoga to Kentucky Downs to Churchill. So.
Yeah. No, we've been running around. We've been quite busy lately. So.
Well, and it occurs to me, you've got a different kind of a client base, but how much activity did you partake in at Keeneland?
We got quite a bit done, Steve. Yeah, we got some done kind of the first 4 or 5 days. So a lot of clients buying and that. So hopefully I don't fall out with them between now and next year, and some of them nice yearlings that we bought end up coming to us in the spring. But we did the people involved. They bought very well, and there'll be plenty to look forward to there if everything stays good with them between now and then.
Well, you certainly, when it came to Kentucky Downs, which was really one of the motivations for getting to you, over the last couple of weeks, you had a bunch of 2-year-olds break maidens at Kentucky Downs. You must have had at least 4, I think. Yeah, it looks like 4.
Yeah, I think we did, Steve. Yeah, actually, I didn't realize it was 4, but I think it was. Yeah, it's a good place to win with a 2-year-old. I think it's difficult to win with 2-year-olds there because they've got to handle that track, especially ones that have never run before. I think it's a big advantage to have had a run under your belt before you go there. But yeah, thankfully a few of them came through, and a few of them were a little unlucky as well. They kind of hit the woodwork with a few of them as well. So hopefully they'll win their next starts or what have you at Keeneland. And yeah, it seems like we've got a decent enough bunch.
Well, and of course you also won Irish Aces, was stake winner for you as well. So this was a good addition of the Downs.
Yeah, we've been lucky there the last few years, Steve. We've obviously got plenty of turf horses, and with us being so restricted in Kentucky at the moment with turf, you're kind of throwing everything at it at Kentucky Downs in a few weeks, because obviously we've no turf now again until Keeneland in October, right. and God knows what's going to happen after that. But, so yeah, you take every opportunity that comes at Kentucky Downs. Thankfully, some of it stuck, and it's well worth it when it does down there.
I'm going to assume that some of those 2-year-old winners, you're going to try to get to Breeders' Cup juvenile turf spots with them. Yeah.
There's a few of them there. We're going to, the first thing is to try and get them into the races at Keeneland. Obviously, if they're made winners at Kentucky Downs, they've got a half decent chance because the earnings are good. We've been lucky the last few years. We've managed to get them in. So we've kind of got, Fleming won at Kentucky Downs. We're going to try and get him into Bourbon. We're going to try and get Isle of Capri in the Phillies race. And then we've got a couple possibly for the races in New York as well. I've got a nice filly there, Savetta, who was fourth in a stake at Kentucky Downs. We're going to try and possibly run her in the Matron and one or two others. So yeah, we'll see if we can't get one or two of them maybe to the Breeders' Cup. We'll see what happens.
Well, then, so the Jessamine for Capri and the Bourbon for Fleming.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but, that's kind of in Kentucky. That's where we're pointed right now on the grass, anyways.
Very nice. And I'll ask about a couple that are in here in a minute. But what about that? The Oscar performance, the Pocket Aces Oscar season.
Yeah, we're probably going to take a look at, maybe come back in a 1X at Keeneland with him. You know, he's a 3-year-old, so I did nominate him to the Geoponte in New York and to the Hawthorne Derby as well. So we'll probably take a look at them too. But yeah, he was impressive at Kentucky Downs. He won really well, but he had been working very well. So you know, we'll see. We'll know a little more here over the next few days where we're going with him. But he came out of it good, so all options open with him, Steve.
Very nice. And going back to one of the other nice efforts, Waves of Mischief came out of the Pucker Up and was a good second. Where you go next?
Possibly the QE2. You know, I thought she ran very, very well at Kentucky Downs. You know, we were a little concerned about whether she would get home there or not. And I think she made a very good effort at getting home, but it probably wasn't her optimum trip. I think the mile and a days at Keeneland might suit her better. She's come out of the race at Kentucky Downs in great shape, and she's a filly that just seems to keep improving. She has improved as the years gone on, and I think there might still be a little more improvement in her. So, you know, I think it warrants a shot at the Queen Elizabeth.
Nice. Well, she was late getting started. She didn't even debut. She's done a lot. She's come a long way in a short time, actually. She debuted in April.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She has. You know, we kind of had to give her a lot of time last year. You know, and we did like her, but as soon as we got her on the grass down in Palm Meadows last year, she started working very well. Obviously, made her first start in Keeneland and has gone on from strength to strength since. But yeah, just keeps improving, and you know, she's done well. Every time she runs, she seems to come out of her races really well, and you know, she looks like she's ready to go again at Keeneland. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's thereabouts there too.
Nice, very nice. All right, I'm glad I asked. And looking ahead to the weekend, and actually during the week, you're at Churchill and you're at Indy. But I want to know about the Godolphin first-time starter, the City of Light filly, Paris Lily.
Yeah, no, she's nice, Steve. She's a nice filly. She was, you know, she's a big girl. She was doing everything really right in the spring, but you know, came into, as their types do, she met with a couple of small issues, and we had to back off her. But she's ready to go now. Probably is one of these that'll benefit from the first run, but she shouldn't be too far away first time out either. She's got a fantastic pedigree. Could go either way, turf or dirt, but she's been working well on the dirt. So I think we need to get her started anyway. And yeah, like I said, she should give a good account of herself first time out. She's ready to go.
Nice. Notably, she's out of an unraced Stormcat mare, Storm Lily. But it just so happens I printed. There was somebody else who was on that is in that race, and I noticed it, and I knew that we would get together. I also see that you're involved in the Salima too this weekend.
Yeah, with Swan House, she's nice. You know, she's been working really well in the spring. You know, we took our time with her, ran her. She ran at Ellis, I believe, first up, and ran well enough. We brought her back at Indiana the last day, and she absolutely galloped, which we were pleasantly surprised about. I don't know if it was a very good field, but she couldn't have been more impressive. And you know, we said we'd take a shot at this race with her, maybe try and get her some black type early in the game.
Nice. She's a hard spun. She's out of an elusive quality mare. She was bred by the Robinsons, Brandywine, and an interesting partnership, Starlight and West Paces together on this one. The Salima, will look forward to to Laurel this weekend. Brendan, finally, thanks for doing this. I've been trying to catch up to you for 3 weeks.
I try not to delay it as much the next time.
It's all right. This was good. This was perfect.
Yeah, sounds good.
Expect to talk to you during Keeneland.
Yeah, hopefully.
Exactly. Brendan Walsh, everybody. Bren P. Walsh, if you follow him on Twitter. Brendan Walsh, Seth Merrow, Pimo, Pat Morrell, Sid preparing for the hurricane, Dick Powell with a big performance. And we started everything off in California in advance of California Crown, thanks to Pete Rotundo. We'll do a lot more of all of that tomorrow and Friday. It's a big weekend, big weekend. New York and California and Churchill, too. We got stakes. All right, the ACAC and the Lucas and more. Good luck if you're playing. We gave you some ideas at Churchill and at Press. Congratulations again to Dick for hitting the Happy Valley. That was great. Thanks, everybody. Replay 6 to 9 here on Sirius XM. Archive podcast in a little bit. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Breaking down the biggest stories in the world of horse racing. This is At the Races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.